Good morning and welcome back to another episode of Around the Indoor Football World, where, as always, we cover all the major indoor and arena football leagues, including the AF1, IFL, NAL, and today we'll even talk some TAL. I know it's been a little bit since we've talked about the TAL, but we've got a little bit of news to discuss. But before we get into that, there's a little bit of heavy metal to start your morning. All right. There's only one place we can start. As you guys all know, if you've watched this show for any length of time, I am a Colorado native. So there's a little bit of news that came out of Colorado last night, and we're going to start right there. And if you did not hear, former first-round pick Paxton Lynch, drafted 26th overall in the 2016 NFL Draft, is heading into his 9th year of playing professional football, and it will be with the Colorado Spartans, playing at the Denver Coliseum, as you see there in the background. Krish, I know you're a big fan of this move. I'll let you kick us off here with your thoughts. And then TJ, I'm curious of what your thoughts are, because I don't think we ever actually got them.
Yeah, when you think about a power move, and I know a lot of people will sit there and say, well, he still needs to adjust to the indoor game. This guy played at the highest level of football. And so he's bringing that experience into the NAL, right? He has a great arm. He has an NFL level arm. I've seen him play. I mean, I know whatever his NFL career didn't go as planned. But honestly, if you think about his career and what it was, I don't think he got if you look at rookie quarterbacks these days and how long of a leash they get compared to how long of a leash he got, if he was playing in today's NFL, he would have got more of an opportunity to really prove himself. So that's just my opinion on it. But I think, he's talented. He obviously, he's huge. He can throw the ball really well. He can run really well. I don't know how much he'll use his legs in the NAL. I don't think he will. I think he'll be a pocket passer, in my opinion. But from an outside looking in, this brings a lot of name, eyes to the NAL. A lot of eyes that otherwise they wouldn't have, right? The NAL, we can be honest, the past couple of years have been lacking, publicity. Right? So this is a big move that will give the league more publicity, more TV time, on the news and stuff. And, hopefully, I saw a ton of comments like, I live in Denver. I've never heard about the Spartans, so this hopefully will get some more fans in the stand. And I think Tony Thompson deserves a lot of credit for the talent he brings in the league and the money he's willing to spend to put a good team out there on the football field. And so I'm looking forward. I think this is going to be a big year for Colorado. I think this might be the year that they can win a championship. So that's how I feel about it.
Krish, surely you are not advocating cheating, my friend.
No, I'm not advocating cheating, but if you have consistently done it, right, you're at that point you're just investing in talent. So
I'm just kidding. Honestly, one thing I wanted to throw out here, and TJ, I'll get your thoughts on this thought as well, but what kind of message would it send to the league, the rest of the league, if after this move, Tony and the Spartans were investigated for potentially paying too much per game? At that point, you're sending the wrong message to ownership groups, because at that point, anybody with NFL on their name is automatically going to warrant an investigation, especially if they're a name. So, I think that's something to kind of consider in all of this. Like, does he see any sort of backlash for being able to sign a player like this? TJ, what are your thoughts on that? And then also the signing overall. I mean, is this something that you would have seen coming a month or two ago?
I definitely didn't see it coming, but I honestly like the move. It kind of gives him a second chance at a career. And, I agree with what Chris said. I don't feel like back in 2016, 17, 18, he really got a fair shake. He was part of that weird, like, 6 or 7 year stretch where if the rookie quarterback wasn't good, like game 1, they were benched. It was like a weird time in the NFL. So if you ask me, why they did this, it'll work on multiple levels. Number one, he was in the NFL. You know, Obviously there's name recognition, and he was with the Broncos in Denver, so he's almost kind of like a hometown hero at the same time as well. So I think it's going to be great for them. That they're definitely going to get fans in. They're definitely going to fill the seats. Uh, if he, I mean, even if he doesn't do that great, guaranteed they're going to have at least probably the first couple home games as like major crowd drawings just to see Lynch. So from a marketing standpoint, it's great for them. From publicity, it's great. Like Chris said, it's going to get people who don't even know who they were beforehand. They're going to see Paxton Lynch. That's going to be a name that sticks out to them, and they're probably going to go check out the game now. Uh, but no, I don't feel like he ever really got a fair shake in the NFL, to be honest with you. So I'm kind of happy to see that he's still slinging around. Uh, I don't I don't necessarily see an investigation going on for him. I mean, because let's be honest, if he was NFL worthy, he would already be on a roster. So, obviously no one in the NFL is really looking at him. Are they paying him more than somebody off the street? Absolutely. But I don't think it's actually as big of a payday as some people may think it is.
That's fair. We if you look at the grand scope of his career at this point, I mean, obviously he's been out of football since 2023. The end of 2023 anyway. So he did finish out that season, but CJ's pointed it out several times in our chat. He did not play a lot that season. He was kind of a backup for a couple games there. So he's been around, but at the same time, it's been a year since he's played football. So I mean, there is that motivation to go play arena football if you just have that itch to continue playing. And let's be honest, Paxton Lynch has made some money in his career. It's not like he's hurting at this point, I would imagine, at least if he's been smart with his money. So at this point, maybe he's not playing for the money. So there is that thought to this. Some of the players that are the most successful in indoor and arena football that build the longest careers are the ones that have solid financial backing outside of football. So, maybe this is something where Lynch can be a long-term option, or at least for a couple years, because he wants to finish out his career on the right foot and hopefully find some success. So, there was a tweet going around I think yesterday or the day before that LeCedric shared in our group chat, and he's the only quarterback to have ever been benched in the NFL, CFL, USFL, and I think XFL and CFL. I don't think he technically got benched, if we're being honest here, but so it's kind of an interesting thing going around. But at the same time, I think this is a great move. Both you guys alluded to it. It's going to bring eyes on the league. I'm sure this is going to turn heads in Denver, and I'm hoping some of the bigger pundits around, Denver pick this up and start talking about it, because I haven't really seen it yet. But maybe we can get some of that stuff going and give them a little bit hype for the season, because if nothing else, I'm curious to see how he plays. And to be completely honest, this gives me even more reason to try and make it to the home opener this year. So.
And I see a lot of people around too, like, trash the game and the comments and stuff. Like, we can get excited and jump up and down when a American Arena League guy signs with the NAL. Like, we should be equally excited for this guy, because he doesn't need this, right? And I don't care if people say, oh, he's making money, whatever. Now, like, I saw him at the press conference. He looked genuinely happy to be there. And so I'm really glad this team is, like, believing in him and giving him an opportunity to continue playing the game he loves. So it's good.
It just occurred to me that the opening game of the season for the Spartans is versus the Pueblo Punishers.
I know.
That's going to be a very interesting game, and even more interesting now. So, wow. Talk about some storylines in that one. Also, Krish, to your point, I think you're right. I don't think we're going to see him run a lot. I think he'll use his feet when he needs to. But, Shaw hasn't really looked for running quarterbacks during his time in Colorado. And I mean, Andre Sale, love him to death, but he isn't the most mobile guy in the world, when you're talking about some of the guys that we see in indoor football. So I don't think anything is going to stop him there. He'll probably be a little bit more productive than people expect on the ground. He can move. He's just not super fast. But Texas Pete say name recognition alone will be beneficial for the league. Good morning, Pete. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it as always. An investigation would only be very bad publicity for the league at this point, in my opinion. Well, keep in mind, investigation probably would not become public, so we may never know about it as fans, but I'm just curious if that's something that's being talked about behind the scenes currently. I agree it would be bad publicity to investigate. Awesome. All right. Well, there's a couple other pieces of news that we want to get to before we have our first guest on, which, as if you saw the promotion post, is Tom Menas, former head coach of the Massachusetts Pirates and San Antonio Gunslingers in 2025. But moving on to the next piece of news here, we've got a couple of guys making the jump to the IFL with the newest team. And TJ, what are your thoughts about Jerome Johnson signing with Albany and then ultimately deciding to go instead to New Mexico?
I mean, obviously, I'm bummed as a Vegas fan, but I mean, it is an interesting kind of turn of events, and again, I mean, it does stink, but I do love the Chupacabras logo, so that seems to make it a little bit better for me for some reason. Uh, but yeah, man, they're going to get a baller. I mean, obviously, they're going to get a champion, an MVP, and I mean, this is a huge signing for them. This honestly puts them in probably first year playoff contention, in my opinion.
I agree. Krish, I know you were particularly surprised and you have a theory about why this might have happened. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I've been able to think about it. At the end of the day, he was going up to Albany and he was competing for the starting job. And I know Albany, they paid a starting and backup quarterback differently. So he was going out, he was competing with Fred Payton and Robert McCoy, two quarterbacks that had played the arena style of play before, right? And so for him, he might have got a good offer from New Mexico. I'm not saying like he got paid a ton of money, but he probably got paid, maybe $700-800, whatever it was. And he feels like, okay, this name fits my style of play better. He also has familiarity with the staff, right? With Kyle Moore-Brown, with Xavier Jackson. That's what I said when Kyle Moore-Brown first took the job in New Mexico. I said, this guy has to be the first phone call for sure. First year playoff contention is crazy, TJ. I love, what he's trying to build down there. But you look at San Antonio's roster, you look at the team they're building from an offensive line and defensive line perspective, it's far and away better than what New Mexico has so far. They hired the Iowa Power offense coordinator who has no experience play calling in the IFL. Coach B isn't on here, so I can say, the Iowa Power were horrible this year. So it for me, like, I just I think that like it's kind of crazy to hire someone like that from a low level to play calling the highest level of indoor football. But no, I hope Jerome does well. I mean, he won't win a championship this year, but I mean, I think it's at least it's a bright spot somewhere for this New Mexico team.
You don't think they have an opportunity to win a championship with Jerome as the quarterback there?
No, not at all. Yeah, you have to have a team around him, man. You have to have a good lineman. I mean, you have to have good linemen, good receivers, good coaching. I mean, has Kyle Moore-Brown ever coached a game in the indoor football league as head coach? No. And who does he have around him, right? Like, yeah, no, I'm not now.
All right. Well, I for one was surprised to see him decide to make the jump back over to the IFL after signing with Albany. I think I had just had it as a foregone conclusion at that point that he would be playing in Albany, and we kind of know how Albany pays in terms of, comparatively to the IFL. So I would have imagined that he was going to stay there. It makes sense, if he was going to leave for any team, the only team that makes sense in this situation is New Mexico. Like you said, he's familiar with the coaching staff. The IFL better fits his play style. And then on top of that, he's going in knowing he's most likely going to be the day one starter. Obviously he knows two of the coaches there very, very well from his time in Vegas. And, most likely he's getting some form of guarantee that he's going to be their number one guy. Whereas in Albany, he has to go in and compete with a couple different guys, not just Fred Payton, but also Rob McCoy, who was there last year, that has already built a relationship with the coaching staff. So that could be a tough situation for them to do. And maybe, maybe Jerome would have worked in as like a short yardage option, much like he did for Vegas or something like that. But, why do that when you can go back to the IFL in a pretty good situation and end up being the starter?
TJ, I kind of want to know, though, why are you bummed as a Vegas fan? Like, why are you upset that he's leaving? Oh, I think he's done.
Yo, man, he's a champion. Come on. He was part of the championship roster, man. You want to keep it together.
Nah,
plus he's an MVP. Vet. I mean, come on.
I know, but he's a vet. Why would you want to? I mean, he would go against. I think he's a vet, right? He is. So why would he be against a limit? And you can only have 7. So for me, if I'm Coach Davis, I signed Darius. I'm a butchered last name, Parantes from Richmond. I mean, that kid can be a short yardage guy any day, right? With his big body and everything. So I think it was time for Jerome to go, honestly, in my opinion.
Yeah, man. Honestly, man, it's when you win a championship, man, you want to keep all the pieces together. That's just my mindset. So
you want to fill it with young guys too. The thing is like I saw a really comment from CJ Wyndham on Instagram yesterday, and he said we did everything we said we would. Right? We had a goal to win a championship, and we won a championship. Right? Then I'll just speak from experience. It's really obvious when a guy has kind of overstayed their welcome somewhere. Right? You see it on the field. So I think this is finally time to, cut the plug. They got Delore coming back. I don't think he wanted to be a backup. So, he had a good run in Vegas, but at the end of the day, Jaden Delore was the quarterback that won the championship for them. So,
well, to be honest, I don't think there was a scenario where he was going to end up back in Vegas. Like you said, Jaden Delore is probably the guy, unless, of course, he gets signed by an outdoor team before the 2026 season, which is very possible. Obviously, he's in Vegas, so he's already got eyes on him. But I wanted to get to a couple questions here in the chat. Texas P, what happened to the Albany Castronova relationship? Castronova, shortly after the 2025 AF1 season, signed with the UFL, the Memphis Showboats. The teams will be relocating, several teams, but at the same time, as you know, most likely the rosters will stay intact as they did with the previous merger. Real quick, let's talk about Maurice Ashley, who also made the jump from the AF1. He spent several years playing for the Oregon Lightning. I think he was with the Oregon Desert Storm, but he decided to go over to the New Mexico Chupacabras as well. He will link up with Jerome Johnson out there. Had a hell of a season in 2025. Was kind of a running back, wide receiver type. 25 carries, 115 yards, 39 receptions, 488 yards. Another 597 yards in kick returns, 12 total touchdowns, and he also ran down on kicks and made quite a bit of an impact there as well. So just honestly a great all-around player who can do a little bit of everything for the team. But what are you guys' thoughts on this move? Does this maybe change your opinion, Krish, on New Mexico? I know you weren't very high on some of the guys they were bringing in previously, but now after getting Jerome, going to get Maurice Ashley, has that kind of swayed your opinion at all?
Nah, they still need linemen and they still need coaching. So I think, look, Maurice, man, like personal friend, excited to see him in a couple weeks. Great guy, does everything the right way. But for me, in my opinion, I just think it's going to be a learning curve for him too. He's coming from the arena style indoor. That's going to take him time, so he can't be an immediate game changer. In my opinion.
Interesting. That's an interesting thought because I actually think that his game translates. But that's my opinion. TJ, I know you're a resident special teams expert here. What are your thoughts on Maurice Ashley going over New Mexico and his immediate impact, for that matter?
I think it's a big signing. He's a nice target. He can be very versatile for a team. He did a lot of stuff for Oregon in last season in the AF1. So I think it's a good signing. I think it's going to be he might not be the I'm not going to say he's the number one, but he's definitely one of the starting wide receivers, and he has speed. I've seen in games last year. I saw he had some speed. He's also not afraid to take some hits. He can kick return, everything else. I mean, he's just a good all around player to have on a new team roster, any roster really for that matter. But you're getting a guy who can do multiple things. Coming in for a first year team, that's huge. That's huge, and he's gonna. I'm gonna say I'm gonna kind of pull a Krish here a little bit and say I will not be surprised when he goes off this season.
Wow. Hey, quite the contrasting opinions here. All right, Krish, I know you got one more thing you want to get to with the NAL before we invite on our first guest. Go ahead and let her rip, buddy.
Yeah, so every week, I do my best signings of the week. So I just want to start with the NAL. My first team I picked out with Dallas Bulls. They signed a quarterback from UMass Dartmouth, Dante Alves Santos. He played down at UMass Dartmouth out here, Division III. He threw over 100 touchdowns. Ran for 14. So he had a total of 128 touchdowns, over 60% completion percentage, and over 10,000 yards of total offense. He won Conference Player of the Year. He's only 24 years old. What a huge signing for Dallas. I mean, that kid, when you watch his film, he explodes off the tape. So I think, Rodney Blackshear is getting a lot of heat. He's another one, man. He gets a lot of heat, but he's doing things the right way. He's not like Tay and Playblow overpaying the wrong guys. At least he's paying guys who can play ball at a high level, So I'm excited for him, and I really hope Dallas makes the playoffs year one. Another big signing for me is Chase Conterez from Iowa State, kicker for the Omaha Beef. I actually talked to two of our guys out here in Mass, and they told me that he's going to be the best kicker in indoor football, which is crazy statement. But they were really they played with him in college. They said he has the best leg they've ever seen. I don't think he'll be that good, but I think he'll be one of the best in the NAL. Kicking is the quality of kicking in the NAL. I think I was looking at a stat. The overall combined field goal percentage in the NAL last year, I believe, was 42%. Right? So when you have a kicker in college who went 21 for 26 in the highest conference in the Big 12, 80% field goal percentage, he's going to come in and naturally have more of an edge, amongst these other kickers that some of these teams are out there getting. So that's a big move for Omaha, and it really refines their kicking game. Coach Negron, in year two in Carolina when he was the head coach, he went out and he got Kevin Didio-Weber, right? Kevin Didio-Weber underperformed for Carolina, and then this third year, he signed Will Canavis at kicker, and Will Canavis, I mean, he just wasn't ready for the spotlight. So I think this year he finally realized, I need to go out and get someone who I know will be good right off the bat, and someone that I know can produce right away. And I don't think there'll be a learning curve for him. I think he'll be really good. And then my third and final signing, Joshua Moore, offensive lineman from Keystone College, 6'4", 320 pounds, going to Southwest Kansas. He played with Southwest Kansas. He played against the Nashville Cats in the playoffs at center. He made his first start of the season at center against the Cats. He allowed no sacks. He was dominant in the passing game. He's going to light up the NAL. He's going to be one of the best linemen in the NAL. I have no doubt about it. So Coach Thomas, doing a great job building the trenches, building the skill positions. Coach Thomas is building a monster in Southwest Kansas. But those are my three. So Dante Alves Santos from Dallas, Chase Correge from Omaha Beef, and then Joshua Moore from Southwest Kansas. So those are my three, and I'm really, really looking forward to all three of those guys. I think they'll make an impact right away. So.
All right. Some great moves. So We're going to hit a quick commercial break, and then we'll be right back with head coach Tom Menas, and he's got lots to say, so definitely recommend staying tuned. All right, Coach, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Doing great. Thank you so much for joining us again.
Good.
Always excited to have you on. You're always a great guest. Have lots of great insight, and I'm sure we've got lots to talk about today. You have had quite the eventful 2025, if I do say so myself. Moving over from San Antonio to Massachusetts mid-season, kind of getting Massachusetts back on the track there, and and then ultimately not being retained in Massachusetts, which I personally thought was kind of surprising. But I mean, anyway, let's just start with how are you doing now? Like, what are you up to these days? And we'll go from there.
Oh, well, let's see. Right now, I'm pretty much concentrating on deer hunting. That's my number one priority, aside from family. I enjoy that. I enjoy being outdoors, taking care of the property, doing things. I'm in the process of building a big barn right now on my property, so it keeps me pretty busy. I try to spend about an hour a day watching film still, and I get a lot of players that call me every day, either for advice and or where you're going to be and that kind of thing. I've been very fortunate. I got a lot of guys that like playing for me. So I keep in touch with the game very much. So, get an opportunity. Like I said, I'll take an hour a day and just break down the game. It doesn't matter what league, whatever, how would I beat them? How would I call a defense? How would I call timeouts? What would I have done there? I enjoy doing that, so it keeps me a part of the game, and it allows me to stay focused if the opportunities arise. So that's pretty much it for now.
That makes sense. Out of curiosity, when you're watching film, are you watching one specific league, or are you bouncing back and forth and kind of watching them all?
I've watched everything from AF1, TAL, NAL, IFL, CFL, NFL, UFL. I just enjoy watching the different things. I'm not primarily an offensive coach, but I picked up some really unique plays that I put in my book. Defensively, I've done the same thing. I think professional football is basically a copycat thing anyway. You pick what works, and found some really cool creative stuff out there. There's some smart coaches out there. And again, that's more for enjoyment and staying on top of things, that when I do decide to pull the trigger, there's not going to be a lull in the gap of things, and keeps me focused.
Makes sense. TJ, do you have any questions for Coach?
Hey, Coach, thanks for coming on the
Thanks.
show. It's great to talk to you. Do you see, have any teams reached out to you about potentially next season?
Yeah, I've
Or
had,
just gonna go right for it?
I would say probably over a dozen I've had talks with. I'm at the stage in my career, guys, where I coach because I want to coach, and I'm a professional football coach. That's my profession. I don't have another job, so to speak. Um, I've always, my family and I, we've always lived within our means, taken care of ourselves, done all those things. So I'm not desperate to take a job of any sort. So there's a process that I go through when I'm talking to teams. There was 2 teams that I would have enjoyed coaching that went a different direction. But I would say the other 10 didn't meet what I needed as well, in picking a team and selecting a team, and that's everything from fair pay to um, having the authority to make certain decisions, um, you know, location. I vet the owners. I've learned my lesson. I'm going to vet owners, and I want to find out that they're stable, they're strong, they understand what we're asking as coaches for them to be like, in the sense that I don't want to get into a situation where someone thinks they know more than they know, and that's problematic. Or I don't want to get in a situation where you get into where someone doesn't know anything and questions everything that you're trying to accomplish on behalf of the team either. So, I used to have this saying that, I got, excluding the dozen or so teams that I've talked to, I've had several large high schools call me, right? I'm talking big programs that are like college programs, and ask me. And I said, the only way I'd go and coach a high school team is if it was an orphanage, because I don't want to deal with parents, right? I'm always looking for the opportunity to do my thing, of course, under the guidance of my ownership, but not to have, I guess I know what I'm doing, let me do my job kind of thing, which is getting increasingly more difficult to find the right ownership to do that. I think the perfect scenario for me would be, and I think I've proven that in several places, is an expansion team, showing an owner how to do it the right way, helping them cultivate a culture that has longevity, letting them know the ins and outs, everything from how the laundry gets done to how we travel to how we eat, how we practice, when we practice, those kinds of things. And so it's not as easy as you'd think. And I get kind of surprised sometimes when people hire coaches that don't have any experience at that level. Oh, he played, so we're going to make him a head coach, or he's a good guy and he lives in the area, so we're going to make him a head coach, or he's cheap, so we're going to make him the head coach. And I always say, you have a multi-million-dollar business, you'd want to have the most qualified people running it for you and protecting you in that way. But again, that's just my opinion. If you asked 100 people, maybe 90 would disagree with me. But it doesn't matter, because like I said, this is a want, not a need. And if nothing happens this season, I'm okay with that. It doesn't change my trajectory or my outlook in the following season, is wanting to coach. And like I said, I like coaching because I love coaching and I love the players and I love the competition. I'm not looking at coaching just so I have another job.
That makes perfect sense. A couple questions or comments I wanted to get to. Mike Davis says, fresh out of the bush, my guy. Then you got Texas Pete. Howdy, Coach Menas, the legend. It's great to see you again. Huge San Antonio Gunslingers fan there. Adrian Lobo Figueroa, Coach Menas, the ultimate pro. So obviously a lot of support kind of surrounding you as per usual. And then as always, please remember to hit the like button wherever you're watching. Krish, I'm sure you've got questions for Coach.
Yeah, Coach, it's good to see you again. I guess my first question for you, it's obviously you came in this past season. For us in Mass, what player do you feel like developed the most through your time with us?
It's hard to tell because every time we were developing a player, some reason they disappeared, and the roster changed. But I would say probably our entire defensive backfield, I thought developed and was getting pretty tenacious. I thought they were a pretty special group. Our defensive line was pretty consistent the whole year. Our linebacking core changed a little bit, but when it was humming, that's when we went on our winning streak and things were going well. And then we ended up losing our middle linebacker, and that hurt us a lot. But I would say, I'm only going to speak defensively. I thought we had a damn good defense, and we started to prove it. We were holding teams to under 30 consistently. So, that's really hard to do in indoor football. But I would say the defensive backfield as a whole.
Great question, Krish. I was wondering where you're going to take that. Also, Coach, obviously, I wanted to ask, what led to you departing San Antonio, if you don't mind speaking on that a little bit?
Well, anyone who knows me knows I'm never going to tell tales or my opinions on ownership or other teams or teams I've been with. I'm never going to do that. San Antonio is a great place. It's a great city. That was a lot of work, man. I'll tell you what, in those 18, 19 months of work in there, we put together, I thought, a very special program, and it is a very special program. There comes a point where you have to look at your mental health and things, and decide, is this good for you? Do you still want to be there? Do you want to keep fighting the things that you're fighting every day? And I'm not saying there were anything nefarious or anything like that. They're good people. They're really good people. And it's just, that was a personal choice of mine, in the sense that it was time, they needed a change. And I knew they'd be in good hands with Coach Fuller. Unfortunately, it didn't work out that way for Coach Fuller. But, I wish them nothing but success, and it's funny because when that job ended, I rented a U-Haul. I was out of there probably in 24 hours because I just wanted to get home. And I got home, and my wife and family surprised me with a birthday present of going to Gatlinburg for a week. And we rented this huge cabin up in the mountains, beautiful. And we're up there, and then the phone rang, and it was Mass. And I had really no intentions of transferring, that same season. And on the car ride back home from Gatlinburg, I ended up signing my contract to go to Mass. And I really like Hassan, the owner of the team, the father, the dad. Jawad's a good guy too, don't get me wrong, but I went because I wanted to help Hassan because they were struggling a little bit, and I thought I could do that. And then when I got up there, it was with the clear understanding, just to make this, it's not about being retained up there. I made it very clear I was there for one season, and that's it. And then I was going to move on. So there was never an issue of, I heard someone say, oh, he got fired twice. I never got fired either place. One, I asked to be let go of my contract, and I'll take that to the grave. And the other one, I just didn't retain because I chose not to. I had no plans at that point. If Jawad would have came back to me and said, hey, let's sit down and talk, there would have been some things I would have had to have conditional to come back anyway. But the idea was just go see if I could help. I think I did pretty good. I was over 500 with them, what I inherited. I made a comment to Sam yesterday, I think, when we were talking. I think every coach in America should have to do one season at Mass.
Can confirm he did say that. He did say that. And honestly,
I don't mean that in a derogatory way. I just mean that every coach should have to do one season at Mass.
Yeah, I think the way it came off when we talked yesterday is that it would be a good learning experience for every coach. You get to coach some of the best athletes in the world, and I think that was your exact words, if I remember correctly.
That's an NFL roster, Sam.
Yeah, I agree.
Listen, Jawad is, there's no one that comes close to him, and I would say I'm a close second in retaining players and signing players, and I mean that. And it's not because I'm this guru; it's because guys like playing for me. Okay, but he's the best at getting talent. There's no doubt about it. That out of anybody I've ever seen in my life. And you got NFL guy, number 1 draft choice, number 5 draft choice, this guy, that guy. My defense was the SEC. Okay. But with that, no experience in indoor football. Okay. Which then you got a learning curve. Okay. So to do that during the season is tough. Now, if I had a whole off season with that same crew, I don't think anyone would have beat us. Okay. The point I'm making, though, is that you can have all the talent in the world. But I've said this my entire career, and I've said this to owners, and I've said this to players. One is championships are won in September and October during the recruiting phase. Okay, that's one. 2 is the best teams in the country do not win every year. They do not. The healthiest teams and the most cultured teams to family win every year. And, I think Nick Saban proved that at Alabama. Belichick for a long time proved that in New England. Whatever your culture is, if it's win at any cost, okay, that's a culture. If it's have a family-oriented team and you fight for each other, that's a culture. If whatever that culture may be. The problem at Mass was that we didn't have an opportunity. I didn't have an opportunity to build the culture completely. And it was starting to come, and you could feel it. And guys were really starting to come together. But then all of a sudden there'd be a change in personnel. And again, I'm not a guy who looks after the next shiny penny. I would rather take a great character guy who's good at football versus a great football player who's got okay character. Okay. And I'm not saying that was the situation in Mass. I'm simply saying that's what I would want in selecting a team. So that's why my vetting process when I put together a team is probably more difficult than most kids to play. I tell this to players all the time when they say, oh, coach, I want to play for. I said, you better be careful what you ask for. Okay. Because my standard is exceptionally high for you. Because not because I'm a tyrant, it's because I want to exude the best out of you. And in order for me to get the best out of you, I need you to be the best version of you every day. Okay. And that's a hard thing to do. And I will remind you of it every day. We pray before meals. Take your hat off. Have your cell phone in your pocket on silent. Open the door for a stranger. If a staff member says something to you, it's yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am. it's not hard to cultivate. And most of those kids crave that structure. We as coaches sometimes forget, and we try to be their buddies. I've seen more coaches go out drinking with their players, or coaches that, and even smoking with their players. And I'm sitting there thinking, what are you doing? First of all, the owner entrusted you with $1 million corporation, and that's what you're giving him back in return. It just dumbfounds me to no end. Now, look, I'm not trying to cast stones at anybody. If you want to cast them, throw them at me. I'm the biggest sinner on the planet, and thank God for the good Lord forgiving me. But you have to have structure, and it has to be base that works good for the player and works good for the team. Some guys said to me, "Oh, he's a real player's coach." I'm not a player's coach by any means. And I'm not an authoritarian coach for an ownership group. I'm not that guy either. I'm what's best for the owner, and I'm trying to be what's best for the player. I want the player to feel like he's family to me. I don't treat a kid any different than I would treat my sons. And I tell owners that all the time. If you would house your son in that place, then great. But if you wouldn't, what makes you think you should house your son in that place? If you would feed your son that, great. But if you wouldn't feed your son that, why are you feeding it to a football player? And that's the difference, I think, is that we have to have a respect for what these kids do. But in the same respect, those kids have to have a respect for what the owner is doing and the coach is trying to do on their behalf. So you got to find the right guys. You got to find the right guys for sure.
This comment by Ricky Burtz. Love hearing that mindset, Coach. I appreciate the insight into how you operate. Hopefully other coaches are taking tips and notes when you say that. And I like the sentiment there that you mentioned. If you wouldn't house your kids there, why would you house somebody else's kids there? Or, if you wouldn't treat your kids like that, why are you treating somebody else's kids like that? So
it's amazing. I get paid well doing what I do, but I can tell you, well, just by example, over the last 2 years, I've probably given players over $10,000. And I'm talking about, hey, my dad's sick. I got to fly home. I don't have the money. And I know the kid's making $300 a week before taxes. So I loan him the money for a ticket, knowing that there's probably an 80% chance I might ever see it again. And I never ask them back for the money. I wait. And if they pay me back, great. And sometimes when they go to pay me back, I say, no, that's okay. You keep it. But I'm not saying that to sound like, oh, wow, what a humanitarian. No, it's just that when guys are in those situations, and I'm not talking about, hey, I want to go buy a pair of Jordans. Okay. I want to talk about a guy who, I love this kid for sure. And he came to me and he's got a wife and he's got a couple kids at home, and the rent was due, and we were on a bye week and he didn't get paid, and I gave him the money for rent. Okay. And it's not because, like I said, I'm trying to sound like this, oh, what a great guy. I'm trying to say this like, if that was my son, that's exactly what I would have done. So you get in those situations where you got to keep the human factor in coaching too, right? But in all these interviews and all these conversations and all these things, and by the way, my agent, Buddy Walters at PLSA, he's fantastic. And he's an NFLPA agent, and he cuts right through it. And he'll say to me, nice opportunity, but nice opportunity, but And we go through them, and we give the courtesy of taking the calls, because if you don't have the courtesy of taking the calls, that it's great experience for a coach to interview. Even if you're not going to take the job, is to interview so you get the experience of the interview. The other thing is, and this particularly for young coaches, the other thing is I never bring up money in an interview. And I want to make sure that they understand that I don't need their money, okay, personally, but I want to see when they bring it up and all that. And it kind of cracks me up when you talk to somebody and they go, well, what's the least we can pay you to come here? Right.
Great negotiation tactic.
Yeah. And right away, I just kind of cringe. And then the other one I like is, well, we want you full time. And I said, okay, but I'm not selling my house in Michigan to come and do a job that you can fire me at any moment. Okay. So I'll go there. Well, what about in the off season? I said, I'll be there 3 weeks out of the month, a month. I'll come home during the off season and come back. And then during the season, obviously I'll be there the whole time. And well, we can't afford to fly you back and forth. I go, I've never asked an owner to fly me back home. I pay for my own ticket going back home, back and forth if I want to go home. So he was kind of blown away by that, this one owner. And I said, yeah, I mean, I treat my job, this is my NFL. So I act just like I would as if it's in the NFL. NFL is not going to fly a coach home on a bye week because he wants to go home. All right. Now, we don't make what they make, but the same philosophy should be in place, right? And that's the other thing. When you're setting up a team, have that NFL mindset. Now, I get it. You don't have the budget, but you can still do the same structure, whether it's for a player, an equipment manager, a trainer, or whatever. I love when you get these teams, certain teams I've talked to and been with, oh, we don't take our trainer to away games. We just borrow their trainer. And I kind of go, what? I mean, if you can't afford a $350 plane ticket, you probably shouldn't be an owner. And it's those kinds of things that, and I get it. There's the wage and there's all the other stuff, but player safety should come first, and those aspects. And so there's just like I said, I'm kind of setting my ways. I have my ways of thinking certain ways and doing certain things. And I'm sure I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but that's okay. That's okay.
Well, I mean, I think nothing you've said so far is out of question or anything. I didn't think anything was crazy, but I'm also not the one paying for it. So,
right. Exactly.
TJ, do you have any other questions for Coach?
Yeah, Coach. Obviously, you've had a long career. What has been your favorite stop, or what has been your most memorable season in your coaching career?
Well, I mean, winning the Grey Cup was pretty special in 2004. And I would say probably in 21, the Albany team, because I got that job about 3 weeks before the season started. And everything was gone. No helmets, no uniforms, a shell of an office. And I started recruiting on the way back, or at the Philadelphia airport on my way to New York. And we ended up going undefeated, or I think we lost one. And, that was incredible. It was a very tough season because we had a lot of players that had, we'll say, big personalities. But then in 22, we had a rough start and ended up winning. And I think my most memorable game to date was the championship game in 22, because it was about the middle, or no, I'd say 3 or 4 minutes into the fourth quarter, and I knew we won the championship. And it's the first time I ever got to enjoy coaching a game for that big a stake. And I'll tell you the truth, those 21 and 22 teams were the best teams in the country in any league. Nobody could have beat us. Nobody. Not even close. And that was real memorable. And then, of course, Antonio bought us in 23, which is a shame because that would have been a three-peat season. And yeah, because everyone re-signed. We had 15 guys out of the 21 re-sign off that team. So it would have been a pretty special thing. But I'd say probably that 22 championship game was it. My first year in San Antonio was pretty special in the way we set everything up, to have such a pro atmosphere. Thanks to Don Rackler and what he and him and Miss Pam did. That was pretty special for sure. But every season has its own cool things happening in it, you know. Every single season does. Mass had it, you know. There were some really special things there too. So everything has something, a little bit of something in it.
Krish?
Yeah, Coach, I was kind of debating on how I was going to ask this question, but I feel like, you know, it drives me crazy. I feel like we wasted an all-time great defense. What changes if you had like the power, what changes would you have made on the offensive side of the football?
On the offensive side?
Yeah.
Well, you got to understand something. I never had the opportunity to hire any coaches. So I inherited a whole staff, right? And I guess my biggest thing was there was times throughout the season where I could have brought in some crazy experienced football players. I mean, like all-world indoor football players that wanted to come and play for me. And that just didn't happen because you know, Joad's the GM. He does his thing. That would be one. The other thing is, I think the play calling we were very predictable on first down. I mean, I just bang my head on the wall, you know, is that, you know, we don't run every single first down the way we did, you know, and we put a lot on our running game that way. I think we were predictable to a certain degree, and when we became non-predictable, we had great success. I know the players were frustrated with some of the calls, but again, players got to execute no matter what the call is, right? It's mano a mano, right? You're across from me, I'm going to take care of you. I don't care if you know the play. But it's tough to run the ball when you got five guys in the box, okay? So that would be my biggest change, I think, would be in the way we called games. That'd be one. The other is Kenji was starting to develop a little bit, but maybe a little slower than I would have liked. I would have brought in a very experienced indoor football quarterback that understood the game a little bit better. The other thing is you got to have great leadership on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, you got to have guys that are in the film room, guys that are busting their hump and working on certain things. And I think defensively, we kind of had that. Offensively, I think they struggled with that kind of commitment a little bit. But again, I don't know because I wasn't on top of them all the time. I was taking care of the defense and, you know, but unbelievable talent, man. Just crazy how good that talent pool was.
Agreed. It's almost like they would have benefited from a guy, say, Felix Harper being on the roster and being utilized at some point. Sorry, Krish, I had to. What type of team culture do you like to build when you're a coach? This is a question from a viewer.
Okay. The number one culture to me is family. Okay. A player will quit on a teammate. Make no mistake about it. He'll quit on a coach. But most players personally won't quit on family. And so the first thing I do is in the off season, we start that process, and we start that process through phone calls, Zooms. I try to stay in constant communication with each player in the off season. Hey, how's it going? How's mama doing? Hey, I heard she had high blood pressures. She got it under control, this and that. Not because I think that's going to help you win games. I just think that's a good way to be as a human, right? So I take football kind of out of it in the beginning, and I just try to create that atmosphere. The other thing is I try to get these guys to start communicating with each other, either via Zoom or private conversations or private chat rooms early in the off season, and that maintain that from October till March or April when you report. And then by the time they get there, they pretty much know each other, right? So you're not lockered next to a total stranger. You don't know about him. You know, this guy's married. He's got 2 kids. You know, this guy's single. You know, this guy likes to write music. You know, this guy's this guy's that. So you build that personal culture first. And then when you get into your first meeting, and the first meeting is where I tell guys the rules. I have one basic rule, and that's be on time for everything. Everything else is an expectation. Don't drink, don't smoke, don't carry on, don't be disrespectful. Those are all expectations. So if you come to me after doing something wrong and I'm going to discipline you, don't say, well, I didn't know. Well, I'm going to say, I expected you to know. Okay. Like I said, we had every team I've had, the guys are on time. The guys are polite. The guys treat female employees as if that was their sister versus a girl that they just met. They're respectful out in the community. They do all those things. And I tell these kids too, on a side note, and I hope they're listening. When you're with the team and you go out to eat, take a picture, go meet the owner, thank him for the food. Even if you paid for it, thank him for a good meal. Take a picture when you're at a gas station and it's extra nice, or I don't care where it is. Improve your own brand. Like, always be working on your brand, your personal brand. I had a player, Malachi, in Albany, who was the absolute best at self-branding. I've never seen anyone that good. I don't think that guy paid for a lunch in New York in 2 years. I mean, he's fantastic. And he would brand himself doing all kinds of things. So as soon as football ended, he transitioned right into an executive position at Lululemon because he had branding experience. And that's what I'm saying, guys, is that, yes, we're perishable goods, football players. We have an expiration date. We just don't know when that's going to come. So be prepared in creating something for yourself that's universal. Don't just put out a video of you lifting weights with rap music going on full blast, or dropping F-bombs, or using the N-word, or doing that. Don't do that, guys. You're bigger and better than that. You're professional football players. Do emulate what an NFL player would do. Okay? Because at the end of the day, that's what I want for y'all. I want you to go as high as you can go. Talk about culture. Here's the other thing. First meeting. I'm not here to develop you into going to another league. It's not my job to get you here signed with this IFL team so you can go to the CFL or you can go to the NFL. That's not my job. My job is to get the best football out of you as I can get here and win championships. Your job is to develop you. Your job is to play the best football you can play, be the best person you can be. So when a team does call me about you, I have nothing but good things to say, because I will not lie for you. I will not sit there and say, great football player, but he does a ton of drugs. Don't do drugs. You want to be a pro football player? That's the requirement. You want to do this? That's the requirement. You want to drink on Thursday nights, okay? And you play it off. The reason you're drinking on Thursday nights is because we're just the IFL. We're just the NAL. We're just the AF1. No. This should be your NFL until it's not. Now, whether that goes up or down, that's strictly up to you. It has nothing to do with me. So this idea that players come in, well, I'm coming in, but I really want to go to the CFL. Okay, go to a CFL tryout. And then when you find out you're not good enough to go, you're going to come back here. Or go to the CFL tryout, make it, and then have a great career. But if I can help you, I just called a kid the other day and I said, hey, do you have an age? Well, I'm just going to say it out loud. I'll just say it out loud. And this is not a criticism to anybody else, but you got to explain to me, someone's got to explain to me how Nyquan Murray is not on an NFL roster.
We had this discussion yesterday as well. Have no idea.
So I called Nyquan up. I left him a voicemail. And I said, I want to, since I got all this time on my hands in the deer blind, I want to know how much, where do you want to go? Now, if he goes back to San Antonio, God bless him. Okay. If he goes someplace else, God bless him. But I'm working on trying to get that kid up. Because, he is without question the best receiver in indoor football. It's not even close. And how he is not playing at a higher level, and he's got the pedigree, he's got all that. It just boggles my mind. And this offseason, I'm making that a mission. So, Nyquan, if you're listening, call me. Because it's I think now, don't get me wrong, the Darius Prince is fantastic. Those guys, the guys in, T.O. and Mass, fantastic. There's been great receivers around me. DJ Myers, fantastic. I think an up-and-comer is, without a doubt, Austin in San Antonio. That kid is a machine. All he does is get first downs. So there's some great receivers, but I don't think anyone holds a candle to Murray. So, and that's what I'm getting at, is it's not my job to develop you, but boy, if you stand out, I'm going to sure try to help you.
That's fair. We got one more question from the audience, and then we will let you get out of here for the day. Of all the expansion teams last season and this season in the 3 major leagues, which one do you see as having the most solid management and organization?
There's some great ownership, like in the IFL. There's some fantastic ownership in the IFL. I'm kind of rooting for New Mexico. I would have made a different, not taking anything away from Coach. I wish him nothing but the best, but I would have probably brought in a head coach GM that had more experience as a head coach GM. That's the only thing that kind of concerns me a little bit about New Mexico. But hey, they're a great group. I know they're going to do well. Kind of hard to tell because, I want to root for the AF1 and some of the stuff they're doing. I just don't get enough information on that stuff. NAL, they got some teams coming in again. It almost looks somewhat, some teams almost look recycled, if that makes sense. But also I think they're going to have some success there as well. I had a great conversation with the Dallas Bulls organization. Wish them luck. Really hard to tell. I'll tell you what, the West just got a little bit more friendly in the IFL with Bay Area not being there. which was kind of a shocker. But it's going to be a lot more even. I think Vegas, Mike does a great job in Vegas. They're going to continue to keep. I think they're a legacy program almost. They got the right base, and I think they're going to be hard to beat for years and years and years to come. But I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say without knowing more about the ownership groups.
That's fair. That's fair. You actually told me yesterday something, and hopefully I'm not putting you on the spot by putting this out there, but you said yesterday that you don't necessarily see yourself coaching in 2026, although you would entertain a dream opportunity. But you said, when you're looking at your next opportunity, you actually kind of want an expansion franchise, which I thought that was a kind of an interesting comment from a coach like you, who has been around. You've done everything. I would have expected you to say you wanted an established franchise. So I was kind of curious if you could elaborate on why you believe that in your particular opinion, if you care to elaborate it. If not, that's perfectly okay.
Well, I think it depends. Yes, I would love an expansion team. And my reasoning behind that is I'm not buying a used car. Okay. I'm buying a new car, and I'm less apt to have the inherent problems of somebody else. I think when you come in and let's say you have a team and the coach has won, 70% of his games, but they let him go to quote unquote going a different direction, right? When you go in there, you're going to face the same things that previous coach faced. Now, if that previous coach self-inflicted his departure, then you have a pretty good understanding that you're going into a good situation. But a lot of ownership groups tend to be set in their ways. These are successful businessmen that have done things a certain way for a long time and want to understand, where they're at. I've walked into teams where on the first day of signing, I said, well, let's go see the practice facility. And it was a decrepit high school grass football field where the grass was knee high and there were potholes in it. And I said, we're not practicing here. We need to have this, and we got to have that, and we got to have that, and we got to have that, and we got to have that. And to their credit, they did all of it. But when you don't know, you just don't know, right? So when you go into an expansion team, let's say there's a new team coming up and it's in Toledo, Ohio, which I think is the greatest untapped market in the U.S. right now for indoor football. Well, I started looking at Toledo, Ohio 7 years ago. I personally just drove up there, went to Huntington Place Arena, met with the GM, walked the arena, talked to the owner of the hockey team. They've sold out for 19 years in a row. They're across the street from the Toledo Mud Hens. They have the convention center next door, a refurbished downtown district, Lake Erie Shore right there. Beautiful. And I've been preaching to every commissioner who would listen, from Chris Siegfried to Commissioner Tyron from the IFL, to everybody. We need to put a team there. So let's say, just hypothetically, a team went in there. It's everything. It's understanding how we're going to do training, understanding how we're going to do PT, understanding how we're going to do food, lodging, hotels, travel, uniforms, practices, practice facilities, practice equipment, all the things that go into it, and doing it anew where you set the standard that when you leave, the next person coming in inherits a great program, right? Because it's inevitable we're going to leave. So my thing was, when I told Sam this yesterday, was he said, do you think you're going to coach in 26? And I said, think about that. Right now, unless a team pops up, you're just waiting for someone to get fired. I'm not that guy, man. I don't want that. I don't want to be that guy. So I take the outlook of I'd rather deer hunt, put up my barn, watch my film, talk to the players, do the things I do, and wait and see what happens. If an opportunity were to arise that was attractive, yeah, I would probably take it. But I don't have to take it. You know, you talk to some of these coaches, man, and they get nervous. Like if they leave a job, you know, they were a head coach here and they want to be a head coach and they want to be a head coach. And all of a sudden you see them and they're an assistant someplace else. And then you see the assistant coach get canned and all of a sudden he's going to another smaller team just to keep working. And there's nothing wrong with that. And if I was probably 35, 40 years old, I'd probably be the same way. But you start to diminish your own personal brand too in doing that. So with an expansion team, if a team were to come in, they wanted an initial face for the program, make a little bit of a splash, I'd come in, do my thing. I promise you, I'd have a roster done in the first 30 days that will look like an indoor football all-star team. Okay. I got guys right now that where are you going to go? What are you going to do? We want to come. We want to this. We want to, and I keep telling everybody, just be patient. And when the opportunity comes, you're my second, third, fourth, first call. Okay. So there's definitely an interest in that. Now, you get an ownership group like in Dixie has with the freight. Unbelievable. Mike has in Vegas. Unbelievable. Kevin has in Arizona. Unbelievable. Yeah. Call me. But those are great coaches. They're not going anywhere, right? So I wish them well. And I want them to be there their whole careers. You know, every coach longs to have their first last job. You know, they just want to sign a contract, be treated great, give great effort in good times and in bad times, be supported, and have longevity with the team to build a program. You can't have a win now culture in professional sports. It's just too competitive. You got to give somebody an opportunity to come in, like in New Mexico. If they don't win one football game, I promise you that ownership group is not going to fire their coach. That's the kind of guys they are. They're great guys. They're going to give that guy an opportunity to build a team and to show what he can do. Now, you get through the second season and you only win one. Maybe in the third year, they're having a different conversation, right? But you want a team like that. That's who you want to go to work for. Now, who doesn't want to go to work for someone like that, whether you're a plumber or a football coach or whatever? You want to go just somewhere where you think you have an opportunity to have a career there, not just a job.
Makes perfect sense. And honestly, I'm glad to kind of get that mapped out because it makes a lot more sense after hearing it the way you kind of explained it there. You know, I know we didn't really dive into it yesterday, but now we did. So awesome. Coach, any final thoughts before we let you get out of here?
No, I just want to wish everybody this off season a very safe and happy holiday. And also, like I tell the guys that call me, you win your championships now. Get your body right. And if you're a young guy looking to make a team, you make a team now by preparing. And you got some guys that won't start working out until February. And you got some guys that are killing it in October and November. And those are the guys that make all-star teams and make rosters. So keep working hard, everybody. Coaches, I wish you nothing but the best of success this year, all of you. Owners, God bless you. Thanks for giving people like me an opportunity when you have. And, you know, just wish the absolute best for the entire indoor football world. And God bless you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time, Coach. Appreciate it. I'm excited to see what your next move is in coaching. Anytime you want to come back on, we would love to have you.
Thanks, Sam. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. Have a great day.
You too.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on, Coach.
All right, TJ, I know you need to get out of here as well. Thank you so much for your time this morning. And that was a solid interview. I'm glad to have him on. As always, he's got insight on every league. Any final thoughts from you, TJ, before we let you get out of here?
No, man, just everybody have a great day. And Coach Menas is always a great interview. We love having him on.
Absolutely.
So have a good week, guys. See you next weekend.
Definitely. Awesome. Thanks for joining us today, TJ. Have a great rest of your day, and we will look forward to seeing you next week. Real quick, before we move on to the rest of the news that we're going to discuss, we're going to hit another quick commercial, and then we will jump into some other stuff. Oh, go ahead, Krish.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say one thing about Coach Menas, before we move on. He doesn't get any credit like he deserves. I watched him, and everything he said, I stand by. You know what I mean? Because he came in, right, and we needed a leader at the time he came in. I really feel like he really, led the locker room the best he could. That defense skyrocketed when he got there. So all the guys on our team I know would play for him anywhere in the country. And I talked to some of our guys too this week. And one of our really star players told me that wherever Coach Menas goes, I'm going. So it's I can speak really highly about him, and he deserves an opportunity. Like, if you want to hire someone, if you want to win a championship, go get Coach Menas. Sure. So
yeah, absolutely. I meant to ask him, and I'll have to ask him off camera, but I wonder if he has a relationship with Sean Leota out there in Michigan. Maybe there's some way that they could convince him to come hang out at practice and stuff or something like that. But anyway, we're gonna hit a quick commercial. We'll be right back. We got more to talk about from the NAL, some signings that I think are pretty impressive, as well as more moves in the IFL, as well as some AF1 news, and we alluded to it before, but some TAL expansion news too. So quite the offseason so far. Lots more to come. It never seems to stop, especially with how the leagues are arranged now. So I personally love it. The offseason is always the funnest time for me. So I hope you guys are enjoying yourselves as well. So as always, here's a word from the beef.
Three, four times, maybe.
I'm gonna pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
And Grant Russell into the end zone, touchdown! Russell has to step up in the pocket, has some room in front of him, gets one. Three-step drop, here comes the pressure, passes complete to Flowers, back to pass, pressure coming, has somebody in the end zone, touchdown! Russell, pressure's coming, Russell able to escape, still on his feet, and will be brought down at the looking, has plenty of time, has Flores at the 15, he's at the 10, and Russell has it on the outside. Like I said, he ain't taking a slide. Russell steps up, lets one go, Robinson makes the circus catch. Going to be a low snap, here comes the pressure, and the pass is going to be complete, and making the catch of Grant Russell. Russell, back to pass, looking, he has Robinson makes the catch, and will be brought down on the play by Isaiah Hall.
Shout out to Chris Duffy, who sent me this really sweet beanie and also this really sweet shirt. Excited to have some Miners gear finally. I personally am a very, very big fan of the logo. But Krish, we have some other NAL news that I wanted to talk about personally. I know we discussed it in our group chat earlier this week. We both are encouraged by the signing of David Perkins by Louisiana, but I wanted to ask you, like, how much does this change your thought process on Louisiana and what they'll look like in the future?
Yeah, I mean, David Perkins is a good signing. But again, it's the same thing with Jerome, right? You need an offensive line around you to protect you. And I mean, I look at some of the players like Javon Ross, Chase Baker. Like, those guys couldn't. I mean, there's some semi-pro teams those guys couldn't make. So, in my opinion, I think you need to surround him with good pieces. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't show up to camp. You know, he's the type of guy who likes to hop around from team to team in poverty countries. So he might go back to Mexico. He might go back to wherever he wants to go. So, yeah.
Absolutely. That's always a possibility, obviously, but at the same time, I think he signed there for a reason. I haven't dug too deep into this move yet, so I haven't, connected the dots on what exactly that reason is yet, but I believe there's a reason there. So I would have to do a little bit more research on the move as far as below the surface, but as far as on the surface, I think this is a great move. In my opinion, I think this might be the best quarterback that Louisiana has had under contract, in their 2 years as a team. So I honestly think that I'm very encouraged by this move. And I said it in our group chat. I think the signing of David Perkins, regardless of any other moves they may make the rest of the season, instantly improved my over under by probably about a game and a half.
Sure.
I'm not prepared to say that he's going to, lead him to the playoffs in year one or anything. Obviously, like you said, it all depends on the pieces around him. He has to have a line that can keep him upright to throw passes, right? So when it comes to that, I think you're right on the money with your opinion, but at the same time, I'm encouraged because I think this is probably one of the more talented passers they've been able to bring in.
The only thing that concerns me about him playing indoor is his release time is a lot slower than other guys. If you watch his film, he takes a long time to release the football. That's why I'm kind of concerned, honestly.
I'm smiling because, as per usual, you have done far more research on it than I have, so I'm not surprised at all. But yeah, I just think this is overall a good sign for the league, right? In a matter of a couple of days, we've had a couple different prominent quarterbacks signed, right? Recently we talked about Matt Struck signing with Southwest Kansas. We got Demery Croft over in Omaha. You got Ed Crouch out there in Sioux City. Now you've got Paxton Lynch in Colorado, and you've also got now David Perkins in Louisiana. So I think this is definitely a scenario where, you might have some really competitive teams this season because of the quarterback play overall is raising.
I'm going to ask you this question. This is a hard question, but if you had to rank, let's say, the top 3-4 quarterbacks so far in the NAL, because every team I feel like has a quarterback, where would you go with? And then I'll get mine.
That's tough. I guess it depends currently how much you weigh potential versus past production, right? So
yeah.
You got guys like Paxton Lynch and David Perkins who are very high quality players in terms of athletically. Obviously, you don't make it to the NFL if you're not a good player. If you don't have the tools to be there, let's put it that way. So, I'm excited and I have a lot of anticipation on seeing Lynch play, of course, because I just want to see how he translates, and I think his game will fit Shaw's offense well. So I think probably he would be, I think he's going to be my 3 right now. If I had to go 5, he's going to be my 3 right now. I'd put David Perkins right there at 4. I think number 2 is probably going to be Struck. And then number 1, I think currently, wow, man, that is tough. Demery Croft, I'm pretty high on in Omaha's offense. So I think right now I'd probably go Croft, just because I think he's done some things in the past that I think he's going to get back to in Omaha, and maybe I'm very optimistic about him, but I've been a fan of his for a while.
I think as a runner, I mean, you would have to put him. I mean, as a runner, as a passer, I mean, I like Ed Crouch and Matt Stuck and Evan Lewandowski and Salina, even better as a passer than I do Demon Cops. Like I said before, I don't think Demon Cops can throw the ball 15 yards consistently. So, and he doesn't need to, but I think he's an average to maybe slightly above average quarterback with a great team around him, in my opinion. So.
Absolutely. Couple comments here. Krish Vyas, that B looks good on your head. Go Bandits. It will certainly make them more competitive, which is better than last season. I would agree. Please remember to hit the like button as always. Nick Coppola tuning in. What's up, my guys? Appreciate you watching, Coach. Make sure to hit that like button wherever you're watching. And if you haven't yet, jump over to YouTube, hit that subscribe button. We are this close to 3,000 subscribers, and let me tell you, it's been a journey for us recently. Many of you guys might know YouTube wrongly flagged one of our videos. We got demonetized for a while, which in turn also removes you from the recommendation algorithm. So our growth basically just stopped overnight, and we need your help by hitting that like button. We can change that very quickly. But I have noticed that our likes to viewership ratio is always kind of crazy. We always have like 10-1 viewers to likes. So if you could just take a minute, hit that like button, it's completely free. You'd be doing us a huge solid and helping us kind of reverse the process of YouTube screwing us over unintentionally because of AI bots. But that's my rant for this morning. Krish, there's also another piece of news that came out of the AF1 recently that I wanted to get your thoughts on. And I have a feeling this will come with some funny comments in the background, of course. But FanIQ has partnered with Washington Wolfpack to help drive their social engagement in terms of video content on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok as well. Obviously, all three of these platforms are growing to be very big in the indoor and arena football industry. And Washington, in my personal opinion, I'm gonna pause it for once before I let you guys go with it. But I think Washington has done a lot of great things to take steps forward as an organization. Not only in the way that they've approached their coaching staff, but also the way they've approached their off-season signings, the way they've approached the front office. They made changes, brought in a GM. They've tried to expand in different ways to provide an opportunity for the team to grow in their market. And I think this is awesome to see them going into year 3 and making improvements that are necessary for them to continue building this team into the future. They've got, in my mind, arguably some of the best looking helmets and jersey combos in any league. Now they just need to build up that market and in terms of fan support. And I think they're going to be here for many, many years to come. So this is just another move by Washington to build up that foundation of what I believe is going to be a stalwart in arena football for many, many years to come. But Krish, what are your thoughts on this move? And then we'll bring on Coach B, who's waiting in the wings right now.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe they should partner with the governor of the state to find a ball coach. Look, at the end of the day, I think this is a nice move by Washington. I like Lobo, my boy, just hit it on the nail. I think it's good. You want to get, their attendance from year 1 to year 2 has declined. So they need something to kind of help them, go up. So, yeah, I like the move for sure.
Coach B, how you doing this morning, sir?
I'm good. How you fellas doing?
Doing great. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you joining. What are your thoughts on the partnership here between FanIQ and Washington Wolfpack?
I think it's a good move. Washington, like you said, been moving in the right direction, changing up, restructuring their coaching staff, their front office, and just how they move internally. I know they brought in Tommy Benicio to help out, and I think it's going to be, like you said, help them stay around for years to come and not just be here for now. I know they had a couple bad seasons, but you added more pieces to the puzzle to build to make your foundation last longer. And I think that's what they needed. And they've been doing that. Just looking to see what their staff gonna look like when they finish with it.
I love this comment by Adrian. Sorry, I don't mean to cover you up there, Coach. Any team taking out-of-the-box approaches should be applauded. The sport has suffered little support too long, so any way to expand the brand, the better. And just to clarify, Adrian is the social media manager, as far as I still know, with the Pirates, regardless of where they move. So this is a guy who is an IFL employee applauding an AF1 team. So let's just throw that out there. Like this is proof that there are plenty of people in this industry that just want everybody to succeed. So I think
Sam, it's more so it don't matter what league you in. Everybody just want arena football to be successful now, and they tired of the sport getting, getting knocked over or getting brung in by bad people, bad owners. So they're happy to see any team moving in the right direction, especially Washington with the record they had and how they moving, making significant changes. That's big. Anybody should support that.
I agree wholeheartedly, and that's exactly why I wanted to bring it up. And there was another partnership. I forget who they partnered with earlier this offseason, but they partnered with another entity to also try and grow the team, which I thought, Tommy Benizio, duh. So he went in and tried to help with the sales side of things to help grow that side as well. So, I mean, to me, this is the signs of a team making the necessary investments to, like you just said, grow a foundation for a team that's going to be there for the long run, not a team that's going to be a flash in the pan and then leave because they're doing things the wrong way. But, I think the way that they've built is very intelligent. But Brian Mathern says Krish loves Governor Landry. Nick AL says FanIQ is a significant investment. Good they are taking that jump to increase attendance. And then Adrian says exactly that. What's good for them is good for all of us. I love that.
It is.
I love that. You may be competitors, but if all three competitors are working to raise the bar for everybody, it's in good, it's in the best interest for everybody. So, I think we're finally hitting a point in arena and indoor football where we are at that level right now, where everybody.
Adrian, I will second this.
He
did a lot of out of the box things for us this year. One of the things he did was the glow in the dark visors that he got approved by the league. I mean, you'll see Vegas and all these other teams try to copy him next year. I guarantee you, but he was the first one to come up with that, and so he did so much, honestly. And if he had more time, I can't imagine some of the things he has cooked up. So he's a pioneer in that aspect for sure.
Can't wait to see what he has planned for Orlando. We'll see.
Yeah, Orlando Pirates, baby.
It's a secret, man. Come on. You can't be talking about it openly. It hasn't been announced.
Yeah, it hasn't been announced. Sorry, guys.
It was either there or Tampa, right? And we all know they're not going to Tampa. So
we'll see. CJ, I'm curious. Are you noting what Krish said, or did you note what I said? Because if you noted what I said, that's okay. I'm just saying.
I wouldn't know what you said because I think the starter in Omaha is going to be Tyler Lowenstein. He can throw, he can run, and he can manage the game. Demery Croft, I like him, but he's more of a runner. He's not a passer like that. And when you got a quarterback, actually Tyler reminds me of a different version of Cato. He really is that good. He can manage the field. He can run. He can throw. He know where to put players in the right position. So I think Tyler will be the starting quarterback down there.
Tyler, I just want you to know my promotional fee is only 10% of your contract. So I just want you to remember that I told Coach B to sign you, and I told CJ to sign you. Just saying. No, just kidding. No, anyway, I hope Tyler finds nothing but success. In fact, I was just talking recently about the fact that I think that he could legitimately be a guy who could move up to the next level. I know he's still fairly young. I think that he would be a great fit on a CFL team that wanted to develop somebody, bring them in as like a short yardage quarterback for the time being. He can play a little bit of other positions, add some depth, other areas, play some special teams and stuff like that. He's fully willing to do all that. And then eventually you can build them into a long-term starter, which
I do agree with you. And I want to bring up this point, and I'm going to respond to Lobo's comment too. I actually respond to it. It's funny because someone was saying to me, why haven't they changed the Instagram handle to Pirates Arena Football? But then I remembered on Instagram, you can't change it once or twice. So if they change it, they couldn't change it again because they've already changed it once. And you don't want to start up a whole new account when you already have, you know what I mean? So it just makes sense. But in terms of Tyler, like I've said that too. It's an open battle. You know, they can say what they want about, oh, Crouch is our guy, whatever. You don't know that till you get to camp. So you have to get to camp to really see and give him an opportunity. Like, you know, I know in Omaha, right, every player is supposed to be a superstar. But the reality is that's not the reality.
No, it's not.
It's not. You can only fit three wideouts on the team. You can only fit 3 wideouts on the field, 4 if you try. So I think I really hope they give him an opportunity to compete and just grind and grind and grind. And I think the best guys should start in Omaha, no matter what. So
This comment cracks me up. Tyler has grown tremendously. I'm excited to see him get the opportunity to compete. The guy is a team player. Tyler Flacco, aka the replacement. Love, LOL. Great guy, T.
Hey,
I would
Coach Lob
recommend.
know what he's talking about. He had him for the last 2 years.
That's true. That's
You know what
true.
I mean? And I feel Tyler is the best player they got at the quarterback position right now. And I feel like he's gonna give them the best chance to win. He knows the lead, he knows the game, and he's ready. I think he's been sitting in the wings, waiting for this moment.
my thing is like, I come across as like I hate Demery and I don't think he's good. Like I said,
You
I
do.
think
You're right.
no, I don't think. Look, I think
I
he's
just seen Demery in person, and
yeah.
what
Like
all the
I
hype
know, I
all the
agree.
hype was about wasn't the hype that I seen when I seen him in person.
Yeah,
And
he
you
can't
know,
throw off
you
his
got to
back
show
foot.
me. I'm from the show me state. You really got to show me. The hype about Cato. When I heard that, I thought it was unreal until I really saw him. Do you know Cato? When we had Cato, we didn't have to call offense. Sometimes our offense coordinator didn't have to call plays. I see the same characteristics in Tyler. When we was in Iowa, he called some of the plays. He ran the offense when he got there. We didn't have to worry about the OC making the wrong call or anything. Tyler knew what worked and what we would need to go to. And I see the same characteristics that Cato, who's a true leader, I see that in Tyler. And I've watched Tyler these last 3 weeks grow into a dog. You got to remember, I had Tyler at Iowa Rampage as my backup to Cato at first, too. So I've seen him for over 2 or 3 years now grow and
That's fair.
develop.
That's fair. And he's consistently gotten better. So that's something that I think is underrated for sure. Ricky mentioned this. Also, speaking of Tyler, what's crazy is he never played college football as he went straight into the Army out of high school, and that's something right
Yeah.
there that people need to consider. You know, his highest level of coaching has been in the indoor game, and you know, I think that's something to be said. You know, Coach Menas said it before. It's nobody's job to develop you at this level. You know, it's their job to get you in, work with the skill set you have, and then win games, right? So it's up to the players to develop, and Tyler has.
Are both dogs. We are in a great situation. Yeah, I agree. But like I said, like with Demery, you know, Demery's best season was with the guy named Hurted Chin, right? And we know what Hurted Chin's track record of developing quarterbacks is. So if I was Omaha, I would be calling up Hurted Chin and see, hey, like I know they already have that relationship. Like, hey, what worked? How did you get Demery to perform at such a high level? You know, because since then he hasn't done much. So in Quad City, for example, right? You can't say, I'll say this, right? Quad City, you can't say like he didn't have a good team around him. He wasn't coached. He wasn't the guy. He came in and had 2 opportunities to start, you know, and he needs to lose 10 pounds because he gained 10 pounds and he was a little overweight, in my opinion, last season when he couldn't run as well as he used to. So if he loses 10 pounds and get to what he was in Duke City, oh man, he'll be a great runner in the NAL for sure.
And Coach Lobden said something, and he right. It was times Tyler came over to me like, Coach, let me play safety or let me get on kickoff. I'm like, heck no. But he's willing to do anything.
Yeah, he's a team player, and I know Coach DeGrom loves his special teams.
Oh yeah, he's willing to get on kickoff. He's willing to get on kickoff return. He long snaps. He's a placeholder. He does it all.
Yeah, and look, I just think he has such a strong arm. I've seen him throw the football. He can throw the football at 60 yards. He really can.
Easy.
Easy, yeah. But it'll be exciting. I think Omaha doesn't know their offensive identity, and they still need to figure it out. But if you look at that receiving core, I'm just being honest. Like that receiving core, they're not gonna run block. No,
You haven't even gave CJ a chance to get in there to get an identity yet. It's his first year as the OC.
No, I know,
He got to
but I'm
get in
saying
there
like that's
and
what
get
they
an
want to run a
identity.
heavy passing offense. They just don't want to admit it. They want to pass the ball 35 times a game. I know they do.
No.
Yes,
No.
with that receiving core.
I think they're gonna be more balanced.
We're saying Devonair Concliffe's not going to run block. Dude's like 240 pounds.
I mean,
what are you
you
talking
could, but like, why would you sign Joshua Neal? Like, why would you sign Dan Williams?
Because you need different body types of receivers. You need guys. You can't just have 4 guys that are 6'5", 250 pounds that can't run. But think about this too. You're sitting here talking about how Joshua Neal's not going to run block, but they've got a guy like David Ross who has a background as a tight end. Hey, look at that. He can run block. Or we've got another guy out there, Chad Hall, former background tight end. All of a sudden you have 3 guys that are 240, 230 out there blocking for your running game. So I'm just saying situationally, I see what they're building roster-wise, and I think they're looking for a variety of playmakers. They're not focused on any one facet of offense.
Yeah.
I think what Omaha's doing is they're just going to let it work itself out. The best players are going to make the roster type situation.
Best players make the rosters, and they're gonna cater the offense around what the players they got. That's how you do it. That's the way you do it now. You can't just put anybody in a certain scheme and think it can work. You know what I mean? I really feel like Ricky said it right. Omaha just win, baby. They find the ways to win. No matter if it's special teams, defense, offense, they going to win. Whether they throw the ball 80 times or they run the ball 40 times, they going to win. So you
You're
just
not
got to
going to
give
run
them
the
that.
ball with a tight end, coach. Come on, man. Like,
You don't know what if the tight they NFL Deebo Samuels run the ball all the time.
Give us
Fullback.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So at the same time, you can have a wide receiver who can run the ball. We've done it with old boy from the Vikings. It's different things you can do. It just depends on what your player will do, man. Yeah, I think they are going to run the ball. Just because they haven't signed a running back right now, don't mean they're not going to sign a running back. It's Omaha. Come on, they
Yeah,
always
they've
surprise you
got,
when you least expect it.
I forget his name, but they've got a smaller back that.
Yeah, Devon Harris, I think, but not Devon Harris. You can catch at the backfield, and David Ross. That's what I'm saying. Like David Ross,
and
he can block, he can pass.
If I'm not mistaken, they signed the running back that we had at Iowa, Jannard Nunley, a true running back. I mean, can run the ball,
No,
can
he
block.
signed with New Mexico. He signed with New Mexico.
Okay, yeah. See, Nunley, a lot of my players are going to New Mexico. Damon Street, Nunley, our offensive coordinator, Colton Hanson, is the offensive coordinator down there now.
Yeah, that isn't a good sign, coach. I'm going to be honest. I didn't see one player on your team that could play in the NFL, but that's in my opinion.
Demond Street played for the Iowa Barnstormers
last
year.
In camp. He wasn't ready.
Yeah.
He's underdeveloped.
He was ready.
He's underdeveloped.
From what I see right now, he could play both sides of the ball. And I'm telling you, I'd have been around.
Play DB in the IFL. Come on, coach. Really? In the IFL?
No, I'm saying he could. If he was there, he could play free safety. Yes, he could. Like you gotta be on the field and coach them. I actually coach these guys. I know IFL players, I know AFL players, and I got some players who can play AFL. Jalen Abdul can play on any level there is, AFL, IFL, NAL. He's gonna be a dominant defensive end on any level. He won 2 championships with Sioux Falls, and you telling me this man can't play in the IFL? And Sioux Falls Storms was the powerhouse of the IFL. Am I not lying?
That's fair. Let's move on to another subject that I think will hit a little bit close to home for you, for Coach B as well. TAL is headed over to Memphis. They're looking to expand into the market in 2026. Tommy Benizio put a post up the other day. His corporation is out there with the leadership group for the TAL, working to launch they said one of 8 teams that will compete in the TAL in 2026. So
I heard it's supposed to be another team getting announced as well.
Interesting. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of news coming out of the TAL in a very short amount of time coming up here soon. So very interested to see the thoughts overall on another team going to Tennessee Memphis specifically, right after the Showboats leaving because of the fact that they did not have good attendance. And granted, that's the UFL, different sport entirely, realistically. But at the same time, I'm curious to see how Tennessee embraces yet another team with Nashville there as well. Krish, what are your thoughts on this move for the TA?
Yeah, I like it. I'm the one who broke the news a month ago. By the way, I said TAO is getting a Memphis team, but I'll let my my colleagues on Twitter, some of the other media sources act like they're first on it, even though I'm first on everything. But Memphis, Tennessee, I wonder if they'll play in the FedEx Forum. I'm really interested. Memphis had a hockey team in the AHL, I believe, and their attendance was not good. And the reason why I make that comparison directly is because historically, Memphis does not support alternate professional sports. That's a historical fact. So for me, I wish they would have put a team in Knoxville. I think if they put in the indoor one of these teams in Knoxville and they played at where University of Tennessee Knoxville, they have a basketball arena right downtown. They should have put the team there, honestly. It's like not the actual University of Tennessee. It's University of Tennessee Knoxville. It's a smaller school. That would have been great. That arena holds 2,500 people. So I would love to see Knoxville. I hope Memphis supports. I want to know who the head coach is going to be. Like, I'm really excited to see some of the players they're able to attract. But I just don't think this.
From what I've heard, they haven't got a head coach or a coaching staff yet. They had a few minor hiccups, and they just got over those hiccups. So now it's rolling over there in Memphis. But I'm excited to see how it goes too, because Memphis is not relatively known to support football big.
Yeah, just to support that fact a little bit, it's kind of funny, but the AAF, the USFL, the XFL in 2001, the CFL, the NFL almost went there, and then also the original USFL, and then also leagues throughout history have been there, and it's never worked out. It's 1 or 2 seasons, maybe 3, and then the teams end up moving on. So I'll be interested to see how the TAL model works, because as we know, it's very budget friendly. So, maybe a team can invest a little bit more money in the marketing side of things and kind of get out in front of fans a little bit more than some other teams in the past. But it'll be interesting to see. I was curious to see when this came about that it was Memphis like that. I felt like that was kind of an interesting decision, but I can understand the thought process travel wise. But
I would have snuck in Nashville, since the Nashville Cats is moving to Clarksville or Clarkston,
Yeah,
whatever
but
that is.
expense-wise, like the FedEx Forum in Memphis is going to be really expensive, in my opinion. And that's the only place.
It got to be another arena there. They probably got a fairgrounds or somewhere they can get down there.
Yeah,
But
maybe.
my thing is, with it being Memphis and they announcing so late and trying to start in May or June, it's going to be hard for them unless they really been working behind the scenes this whole time, getting sponsorships and accumulating dollars, because you should, in markets like those, you shouldn't wait so long to come out. You got to come out and give them a long time to work.
I think the timing is interesting, right? Because earlier, Nashville has announced they're moving to Clarksville. So, I mean, maybe they were waiting for something like that to kind of, settle that situation and see which market was going to be in their best interest. So just a thought. I don't know how much the TAL is really going to base their announcements on other leagues, but just something that I had wondered
They need to
about.
make sure they have great ownership with a lot of marketing dollars and a lot of somebody. They're going to have to bring in a good coach to get people in there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be interesting to watch and follow along with, that's for sure. But another one of the IFL moves that really kind of caught my attention was Justin Stockton. Krish, what are your thoughts on that move, and remind me where he signed?
Yeah, Justin Stockton signed with San Antonio, man. I'm so happy for him. I know he signed with Duke City and he didn't show up to play, but one thing about Justin, him and his wife, they have 3 kids. They live down in San Antonio. So it works out perfectly. I believe he lives like 10 minutes away from the arena, I heard. So I'm really happy for Justin. He's an elite running back in this league, and I hope he can get back to, his prime. I hope he comes in shape, because if he's in shape,
Yeah,
a top 5 back in the league easily. They also signed another player, though, that I'm really excited about. Kelvin Smith. He is a running back from Delta State. Really productive running back in goal line situations. I love Delta State players. They do a great job. They developed a lot of good indoor talent over the years, some CFL talent as well. So Kelvin Smith, he averaged like 6.1 yards per carry his senior year. He's a great running back. I'm excited to watch him. They have a good backfield in San Antonio, and then they signed Dazon Carroll too. That line is looking nice. Jonathan Main is going to get a lot of heat because of the hires outside the box. But him and Rod Miller, they're putting something nice together in San Antonio for sure.
Only thing I'm scared of, that offense has to produce, and it has to produce early and quick. And
Right.
Coach Miller has to get that defense on track. The last 2 stops, he's been okay. He ain't been the same Coach Miller. So I'm anxious to see where they go with that.
Yeah, but I think the offense will be, Daquan Collazo having an experience. Okay, let's read this comment. All right, dang, sounds like good coaching.
Dang, that sounds like good coaching. Do what your players are good at. Put them in a position to showcase their ability. We will be fine. We have to prepare for really good teams week in and week out.
Yeah, exactly.
Brandon Negron, you mean elite? That's why I stay in my lane and let coaches talk.
Yeah.
Sunday franchise here, please.
New Orleans is brewing for another team.
Knoxville would have had better attendance, but Memphis is probably more affordable.
Makes sense.
Brandon Negron 7.5 is
over and under. I gave him 7.5, and they're like cheesing off that. I'm like, dog. You look at your schedule, like they could easily start 1-3 and win 6 in a row. Like that wouldn't surprise me. And they go 7-3 and get second seed in the playoffs. Like they think I'm crazy, but I'm gonna add. I told you I'm gonna add this bet too to the shaved head. If Omaha,
no, you need something other than a shaved head bet.
Omaha sweeps their Kansas trip. If they beat Salina and Southwest Kansas, I will shave my head.
I think what you're doing is you're gonna wear a hat every episode. That way we don't know that your head's actually already shaved. So then when you lose all these bets, you're just going to take your hat off and you already
take your hat off right now, Chris. Let us see your
hair. Come on. Yeah. Prove it.
We got to see. Yeah, we got to see hair to see if you can shave it.
No, trust me, it'll work. But honestly though, this league is highly competitive, and so I assess teams based on it being competitive. It's not going to be Omaha doghouse. They're not going to wreck through the league. They'll be really good. They have great D-line, great O-line, great defense, whatever. But it's still going to be competitive. So
yeah, but I don't think anybody from Omaha is saying that it's their league either. In fact, CJ said more times than I can count. We have to face good teams every week. That's why we play the games. That's why we play the games. So I don't think that they're writing anybody off. Nobody. So sure. I don't think there's that concern. But data support's not going to Memphis, but maybe TL model works better. I wonder if there's not some arenas that other teams haven't been able to look at in the past that could potentially make it a little bit cheaper due to the no kicking. That helps a lot, believe it or not. Stockton is a dog and a great human being. Yes. Completely agree. Justin's been a friend of the network. Just realized how contradictory my last sentence was, but y'all get it. And then also arena football, shaved.
Yeah, Stockman is a dog. I was trying to get him with the Rampage. Chris had threw me his name, and I was working with him. We just couldn't get it worked out.
Nah, he'll do well, man. He's a hard worker. He's a grinder. He's a leader too. Justin Stockton being around him, he's a leader. He's a great family man. Don Rackler in San Antonio, he's really finding guys, and there Jonathan Bain. He understands the culture. He's a family man himself. So I appreciate some of the signings.
I like the upgrades they made to the locker room and the facilities. They one of the only organizations I know have their own facilities, I think.
Mm-hmm. I know. $100 million.
And that's big, man. That's big.
That goes a long way toward recruiting players for sure. Any other comment or any other signings or news you guys wanted to discuss?
The Paxton Lynch set the record straight. I think that made them a true contender for real again, and it's gonna be hard to beat Colorado this year.
Could be. It's gonna be an interesting situation this season for sure. One of the moves that I think kind of flew under the radar a little bit in the IFL, you have Jonathan Ross, who was a pretty prominent player for Bay Area the past couple seasons. He jumps over to Green Bay. I think that's a great move by them. Jacksonville are signing another offensive lineman, Baraka Beckett. They always seem to unearth pretty solid offensive linemen there for some reason. Just something about their scouting department. They're pretty good at that. Dante Lucas goes over to Fishers, Green Bay, from Green Bay via trade. Some interesting moves there.
Fisher and Vegas lost some big players to the Monsters, I see.
They have. The Monsters have gone hard on the poaching train a little bit, but that's all right,
Tamarion Telly to Tucson, Terry to Tucson.
Yep.
I think Coach Kaiser and Fuller and them gonna do good things down there.
This is a long comment. That's not the assessment of it. I'm just thought that we don't have it ready. Let's play ball and start ball kind of fade.
Oh Lord, we got another guest joining us.
Wow, that's crazy.
You think I'm gonna let you just
there goes CJ.
Talk crazy about my team and not get on here?
Surely by your team you mean the Wheeling Miners, right?
Yeah.
We're not touching that.
Just kidding. All right. I'll let you two at it. All right, go for it, CJ.
I just want to hear Krish's assessments again. I was taking the dogs outside, didn't get to hear everything, so I wanted to hear why we can't do certain things, why we can't play with elite receivers, why we can't play with a 230-pound running back, why we can't play with either an all IFL rookie quarterback, first team who threw for almost 2,000 yards in 8 games, or a guy like Tyler Lowenstein who, played in the NALs, played for a few years. I just want to know what we're doing so wrong here, Krish, that you just always feel like you have to speak about something we're doing. Like, do you think about us that much? Like, are we replacing the Mass Pirates for you? Are we your new team that you have to think about and speak about all the time? I mean, we just want to be over here, man, doing our thing, getting good ball players, getting ready for a great season in the NAL. Like Coach Lowe said, there's great players everywhere. I mean, would you sit here 3 years ago when the NAL started this new version and said Drew Prohaska was going to be the best running back in the NAL? I guarantee you that was on nobody's bingo card who hadn't played with him or against him. And he turned out to be pretty damn good.
He always been good, CJ.
No, I know, but for a guy who never played in the CIF or played, I never knew of him until I played against him. But I'm saying for the common fan joining the NAL, did people think he was going to be the greatest player or the best running back?
No, but CJ.
I'm stating facts right now, Krish. I'm just saying you can't put value in everyone's name. You can't in one breath talk about how this team signed this guy, this team signed this guy. You're putting teams up here and giving these teams all these glory, and they have 0% of a roster completed. They don't even have full position groups, and they're somehow getting all this love from you. I don't want love. I just don't want you to jump on the ship whenever things, go our way or don't go our way. So we've got talent. Sioux City's got talent. Colorado, Pueblo, everyone's got talent. So let's just leave it at talent. Let's leave it at looking at rosters and evaluating rosters off of true evaluation and not, oh my God, they got this guy. Because everyone's got guys right now. Coach Menas said it. Championships are won in September and October. They're not won the first day you show up to the training camp. Are you building connections? Are you building relationships? Are you building that rapport with your team? Are you doing stuff to prepare your guys to where when you show up to camp, you're prepared? Coach Menas said a lot of really good things when he was on the show. So, you got to take that into account too. You can't just look at names and think that names are going to win games. That's if that was the case, and I always give you a hard time about Massachusetts, but Coach Menas touched on it. You have an all SEC defense. You have first round picks, and they went 7-9. names don't just win games. You gotta have the culture in place. You gotta have people who are, who are bought into what you're trying to do. It can be guys like David Ross who you can continuously doubt, who could end up leading the league in rushing because he has a mindset that he's got to prove people wrong. I'm not discrediting anyone else in the league. I know there's talent. Devontae Jackson in Colorado's a dog. I played against him in college. You don't have to try to sell me on that. We know Paxton Lynch going to Colorado, dog. I get it. But once again, how many teams have had elite players and not won? Answer me that question. Riddle me that. Because I've also heard you do a take. I've also heard you do a take bashing Verlon Reed, and he led a Sioux City team that, if you stacked them up across the board, didn't have all the athletes that everyone else had, led them to a championship game, and they were 1 point away from winning. So what does that mean? Like, what exactly does it mean if you have a name in October? It's November 1st. We are still 100 and 20-something days before the first game. Sure. There's a lot of things that can happen. All these guys that are signed to every team in this league could be in the IFL, could be in the AF1, could get elevated to the UFL, the CFL. We don't know. So right now, it's just signing guys and hoping that you can get them to camp. So I don't buy all the, oh my God, they got this guy, we should just crown him. That's across the board. We could have signed Tom Brady, and I would have said, hey, we still got to go out there and win games. Patrick Mahomes doesn't win the Super Bowl every year, does he?
Almost every year.
Almost, but not every year.
You're welcome, NFL.
Yeah. I mean, look, everyone bashes Jalen Hurts, and what does he do? Oh, he's a run-first quarterback, but yet he won a Super Bowl.
He win when it counts.
So last time I checked, it doesn't matter what your stats say. It doesn't matter if you can't throw the ball 15. Yeah, that's going to be – oh, man, we got to put that on a T-shirt.
I was thinking the same thing. That's got to be an Omaha T-shirt.
And it's going to be sponsored by Krish.
Ricky, you heard it?
No, in all seriousness, I love doing this because I love being able to get on here and talk a little trash, because I do respect your opinion, Krish. I do see it a little bit different than you because I've been on the field and I've seen some of these guys first time. But exactly, Coach Lowe. And I got a lot of respect for Coach Lowe too. So I know his defense is going to be very good. They're signing some dogs out there. Everyone's got dudes right now. It's at the end of the day, when that ball gets put down and that whistle gets blown, who shows up? I mean,
who gonna coach and who gonna play?
So I respect your look. 7.5 is not disrespectful, Krish. It's never been disrespectful. It's more so certain things we've talked about off camera, that I put in value in when I'm looking at teams versus maybe what you do. That's okay. It's okay to have a differing of opinions, but don't say we're upset about it. 7.5 still gets us in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. But that's not the goal. The goal is not to get to the dance. The goal is to win the whole thing, just like it is for Sioux City, Colorado, Pueblo, Southwest Kansas, Salina. We're all sitting there saying, man, 7.5 is good, but that don't mean nothing if we lose in the first round. We can go 10-0 and get bounced in the semis. That's a failure of a season. And it's not a win now mentality, but it's a standard. All the teams in this league that have been around for multiple years have won championships in some capacity or been competing. So it's not just we're putting the ball down and we're like, oh, everyone should bow down to Omaha. But we also, we are the longest running franchise in the league and in the country outside of the Arizona Rattlers. So, we just like a little bit of respect that we know what we're doing.
No, and I never said you didn't, right? That's why you're at 7.5. I mean, I think 7.5 is, I'll respond to you. Number one, you better respect my opinion. Number two, I think that, number two, when I say offense identity, I'm just looking at the receivers you have, right? So explain this to me. You have different prototypes of receivers. You signed Dan Williams. Right. Yep. For me, I look at someone that's going to stretch the field. Am I right?
Okay.
Someone Tyler is the typical.
You got Jabari Flowers. He going to stretch the field.
We've got 3 guys that can do that, Krish. Go look up Dev Conliffe. Dev Conliffe
No.
was top 5 in the league and only played 5 games last year. Dev had 18 catches and 7 touchdowns. That's a pretty good rate. That stretches. Go put on the tape when they played in the playoff game and he caught a deep over 2 defenders. That's pretty impressive. Go put on Jarvay Flowers. Go put on Josh Neal. Go put on Dan Williams. Yeah, we've got a plethora of receivers, and yeah, we can't live in empty the whole time, but if that's what we can do, because you've now got to change your coverages because you can't play man four guys on man. It's not going to work. So if it means that we're going to change your identity as a defense, then that's what we're going to do. If you're going to do this, we're going to do something different. If you can't stop the run, we're going to run the ball. If you can't stop the pass, everyone's going to do that. We're not going to force a square peg into a round hole and say, man, we have to throw the ball 50 times a game to appease everybody. No, if we got to throw the ball 20 times to win, cool. If we got to throw the ball 40 times to win, cool. We're going to do what we got to do to win, just like every other coach in this league is going to do. If Coach Lowe is having success blitzing his middle linebacker when we go empty and he's getting home, I'm going to expect him to do that every time we go empty because it works. And then when we make an adjustment, he's going to make it. I'm just using him because I've seen him in the chat, but like that's coaching. That's what this league comes down to. That's what the IFL comes down to. The AF1 at this level, everyone's got good players. Who can make adjustments? Who can change? Who can be healthy week to week? Who can make sure that their guys are paid on time week to week? Who can make sure that all these things are taken care of that go into, creating an exciting product?
Yeah, and I agree. And I do want to address one thing, right? Like I sat here, and so this is why, like, again, like now, my opinions are my opinions, right? I sat here 2 months ago and I said, you need a linebacker. If I was so wrong, you went out and signed 2 linebackers. You signed Kai Bynum, and today on the transaction, you signed Dennis Johnson Jr., right? So obviously, you're always evaluating talent. Am I right? You're trying to improve position.
Yeah.
So
any coach is going to evaluate talent.
Sure, absolutely.
But I can guarantee, I will bet you my entire season's game checks that we did not sign Kyer Bynum because we said, "Oh man, Krish said we are not good at linebacker."
I think you did.
I will
honestly.
bet you.
I don't know.
But you can believe that all you want, but I mean, we feel very good. Look, and here's the thing: it's like I said, we don't know what's going to happen. So he shows up to camp and he shows out, then he's the guy. If he doesn't show up, then we got other guys. Like that's the thing. You can't get caught up in who's signing where right now because all it is names on paper. You show up to camp, you don't have a good camp, then what happens then. So, it's right now it's all about getting the fans interested, which is great. I mean, that's why I do this too, to get fans interested. I want the engagement. I want people to, yeah, Coach Lowe. So what I'll do is after we play you guys, then I'll give you the adjustment probably after the second time. Don't want to give it to you the first time, so then that way you can adjust. But yeah, get with me like as soon as the clock hits 000. But yeah, at the end of the day, like I said, we've got players. Colorado's got players. Everyone's got players. Whether you like to believe it or not, I mean, I was on the team. That team that Sam's rocking right now, we thought for a fact we was going to roll down to Shreveport last year and beat them, and man, we lost. And you said on paper our team was a top 3 championship competing team, and it never materialized. Like that's why I'm saying so many things happen. One injury, one this, one that. One guy decides not to show up. This happens, and then next thing you know, you've got a completely different team. So,
Is this a Halloween font? It's killing my eyes. No, I was just messing around with the font this morning, and I like this one. Honestly, I guess I'll change it. I'm sorry.
I can't believe you're using that Halloween font on November 1st.
Yeah, I like it. I thought it was cool. Unique.
But I say all this to say, Krish, continue to give your opinion.
Sure.
But also, I'm going to continue to give my opinion and stand up for my guys. We are blessed. We have 2 elite quarterbacks in our team, and the best guy's going to win. It's
3.
Well, the third one's injured, so we have 2.5 right now. He's halfway recovered.
Ouch.
As soon as he gets
My
healthy, he'll
question to
be
you is,
ready.
so what does elite mean to you? Like when you think of elite, like honestly, what does that mean to you?
Can you win games? I don't put stock in who go look at who did the NAS and certain statistics last year and tell me if they're elite. That just because you lead the league in a stat doesn't make you elite. Did your team win? Because you can lead the league in passing, but if you're down by 21 every game, you're going to throw the ball more than you're going to run it. If you don't have a run game, you're going to throw the ball more than you run it. If you only have one elite receiver, that threatens downfield, yeah, he's going to get big play targets. So at the end of the day, like elite to me doesn't have to be that you lead the league in these categories or you hit these numbers. To me, an elite quarterback, do you protect the football? Do you keep us in good situations? Do you run it when you need to run it? Can you throw it when you need to throw it? To me, that you do that in one game. Yeah, you got to make some special plays, which all of our guys make special plays. But can you do that when it's crunch time? Can you avoid that sack, step up, and throw that post over the middle? Can you run over a DB on 3rd and 2 when you pull it on a zone read and run over a DB and get that first down so we keep the clock running? Or are you going to slide down? Or are you going to put the ball over the wall? Like, that's the stuff that makes you elite. It's not just numbers, because numbers can lie to you. And if you only focus on numbers, you're going to be greatly confused at what you see.
Right, and I agree. But no one wins paper championships either, right? So you have to assess, you kind of have to assess it. You just have to assess it with what you have, with the information that we have early on, right? Obviously, you're replacing Tommy, right? So you can't, for me, it's like hard for me to expect immediate explosion. You know what I mean?
So you've got to change your mindset. We're not replacing Tommy. Nobody replaces Tommy. We are bringing in the next quarterback for the Omaha Beef. That's the thing. You and not just you, a lot of people, we can't replace Tommy Armstrong. Tommy Armstrong is Tommy Armstrong for a reason. Just like Sam Castronova for a reason. I don't hear you hopping on when you're talking AF1 talking about how Albany's going to be terrible because they have to replace Sam Castronova. I haven't heard that a single time. You and supportive of their signings. You didn't say, I heard you earlier, bashing Jerome Johnson, and then all of a sudden, a few weeks ago when he was going to Albany, it was a great move. So just
I wasn't
pick a side
bashing
and stay on it. Like, but the point I'm trying to say is we're not replacing Tommy Armstrong. Tommy Armstrong was Tommy Armstrong. He is Tommy Armstrong. Like, he is an elite. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. Like, he's going to be a Hall of Famer for the Omaha Beef, no doubt, first ballot, however that works out. Like, that's going to happen. Like, I played against Tommy twice. I've seen it firsthand, seen him make throws that very few people can make. We're not trying to replace him. If we were trying to replace him, we're going to be very upset because we're going to continue to chase something that's not there. There's one Tommy Armstrong. Now, we want the best Demery Croft, Tyler Lowenstein, PJ Thomas, Derek Kurtz. We want the best version of themselves to be the next quarterback for the Omaha Beef. Not, we got to find Tommy 2.0. Because the moment he makes a bad play, someone's going to say, well, Tommy wouldn't have done that. Well, Tommy would have done this. We don't want that. We want these guys to come in and understand that this is their organization. This is their opportunity when maybe they haven't had one. Let's go look at all, the two guys you guys talked about. Like, Demery had his opportunity in Tucson. He had to bounce around, do a couple different things, take some stops. Now he's got an opportunity to be the starter. Tyler has played in Sioux City, played some games, done some different things, was with different organizations. Now he's getting an opportunity. But, at the end of the day, we're not asking them to be Tommy. We're asking them to be the best versions of themselves, whatever that is. If it's 2 touchdown passes and 2 rushing touchdowns and you throw for 150 yards and you run for 60 and we won the game, cool. That's all that matters. When you get a ring at the end of the season, it doesn't say, you led the league in passing or you you completed at a 64% completion percentage, or you threw the ball over 15 yards this many times, says NAL champion. Like, so at the end of the day, none of that other stuff matters. So that's just my viewpoint on anybody. I mean, I don't buy into the hype for everyone. I'm going to always stand up for my guys and believe my guys are the best guys in the league, because that's what I'm supposed to do as a coach. I'm supposed to make sure that my guys feel that they're being promoted, they're valued, and that people understand that, for lack of better terms, if we didn't think they were good, they wouldn't be here.
Basically, CJ says,
now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
all right, just had to throw that out there. Great suggestion.
That's such a
Brian.
great clip. Such a great
I know,
clip to use right there.
It's almost as good as this one.
What's that? Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
We got a lot of comments rolling in. This one in particular, I think, was hilarious. Not hilarious, but interesting. Sam is great, but he wasn't a Tom Grady. I don't
compare
know.
those.
No,
Yeah,
it's two different styles. Even though it's arena
Yeah.
football, it's two different styles of arena football.
That's like comparing Tom Grady to Aaron Garcia. They two great quarterbacks would do two different things.
Thank you.
And we got to get out of this. And I think I've said on here, man, comparison is the thief of joy. And if we just spend all the time trying to compare people to other people, like, we're going to be miserable, man.
We wouldn't have no new elite
How?
players.
How can we make assessments without making comparisons, CJ? Come on, man. Like, how can I look at a position from last year?
But Chris,
you can compare without trying to bash people. That's the thing.
But it's
You
not
can say,
bashing.
look,
Saying, like,
you can say
not
Paxton
common,
Lynch is the best quarterback in the NAL. That's your
I don't
opinion.
believe that. Yeah.
You could say Ed Crouch. You can say anyone. You know, like Coach Lowe said, we had Lorenzo Brown here last year.
Yeah.
He's still not replacing Tommy Armstrong. Lorenzo Brown. Are you going to argue Lorenzo Brown's resume?
No.
Like, okay, but he didn't run the ball well. He didn't throw the ball at an elite level. He was older. But the point I'm trying to get to is you can have your opinions.
Sure.
But then also, just like you want us to respect your opinion, if we say, hey, we think that that's a little biased. I mean, I've told you this before. I mean, you gave teams a win-loss total, and they didn't even have quarterbacks listed. How can you win a game without a quarterback, Krish?
Well, now
that one. Now
probably
they have
got
a
the
quarterback
over-under
listed.
on Colorado at 10.
No.
Oh man, I'm surprised you didn't go buy Colorado's
9.5.
shirt. I mean,
I have one right here.
all
Right
I'm
next to
saying
me.
that is
It's a big year in Denver.
you can compare people. Like, by all means, compare people. Like, but there's a way in comparing people when people can be elite and not be someone else. Jared Goff is a really good quarterback, but he's not Patrick Mahomes.
CJ,
Lamar
I got
Jackson's
one for
a
you.
really good quarterback.
Sam Castronova is good, but he's not a Chris Dixon. Lorenzo Brown is good, but he's not a Chris Dixon.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair for sure. I wanted to throw this out here. Tease with the Shady Sports Network logo and Krish's face. If you guys want to see this, any one of our single multimedia profiles gets 20 likes on this video, I will make this happen. I promise you. So if you guys want to see this, get us 20 likes on any one of the profiles.
Sam,
YouTube,
here's
Facebook,
what we
Twitch,
do.
Twitter, we'll make it happen.
I've got an even better idea to add to that. We talked to Brandon Eichert, and we give out the Krish Award at the championship game, and the Krish Award goes to the guy that he crapped on the most, that like overdone his entire assessment of him, and they get the Krish Award, and it's just a picture with his face on it and a T-shirt, and it says the Krish Award, the guy that I thought sucked.
I'm down with that. I'm down for that. Sure.
I think that would be hilarious.
We get that. Oh my God! When we do a weekly award, the Krish, oh man, he's got to show me something award. Week to week, every guy that Krish is like, oh man, this guy just can't perform. This guy can't do this. He's not ready to be on an indoor field. Ball out. Boom.
I think that should be a weekly award. I like that idea.
I'll do it.
Man,
I'll do
this
it.
is
I'll put
hilarious.
it
The
out.
Krishy.
Oh, the
I
Krishy,
can admit
that's
when
a-
I'm wrong. I see. That's one thing. Like unlike Sam and Coach B, like I can admit when I'm wrong. I've never heard Sam admit that he was wrong. So that's one thing
What?
I can do. So
I feel like
see,
I've done that fairly recently.
They say
I'm just
the
over here
first time
taking
that you've
shots
been
for no
caught, you
reason.
start deflecting. So now here he
Yep,
goes.
that's exactly what it is.
Hey, Chris, I remember when you beat me on the records and I admitted that I was wrong on the score. So don't do that. It's hard for you to admit when you wrong, or if you say something bad, you rebuttal with something else bad.
no, I
Then try
have
to cover
I
it
have a
up.
track record of admitting that I'm wrong, and I want to
It
find
takes you a week after to do that.
Man, Coach, you have to chase me around the arena when I come to shave my head because I won't be shaving no head because I'll be
Well,
right.
I'm still waiting
You
on the
won't
3
have to. It's
shaved
already
head
shaved.
bets you told me about last year.
Oh,
Which
he
one?
shaved it. It just wasn't live on camera
A
like
team
this.
that's no longer in the NAL that you said was going to fold mid-season, ended up winning the championship. I think I remember a head shave bet on that one.
I never said Beaumont was going to fold. I said they would have financial problems, which is true. They do have financial problems, but
They did have fun, and they still do.
yeah.
Don't make us go back to what all your promises. I have notes now. I'm just saying. First nomination is that center he was talking about last week. His name slips my mind. Alex Heil. His name is Alex
my gosh.
Heil. He's now the starting center, or he's at least going to be with Michigan, which is Krish's favorite AF1 team this season,
Yes.
which is just great to me. It couldn't have happened any better.
Chris, you get the most. You pick the most like random team to be a fan of, and it's like you'll pick. Oh man, I like the Michigan Arsenal, but I also hate all their players. I hate their owner. Their arena sucks.
No,
But
I
they're my
never said that. I said
favorite
I love
team.
Lyota. I've been a huge
No,
supporter of
it's still a
Lyota.
long off season, Chris. Give it time. They're gonna make a signing. You're gonna say, man, that I just don't, Sam. I don't get it. I don't get it, Sam. Maybe you can help me on this one.
I'm an Omaha Beef fan. I've been a Beef fan forever.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. A beef fan. But yeah, you know what? That's fine. Hey, if we're fortunate enough to get to the championship, man, I'll get you front row tickets, and then that way you can see firsthand, all the
when
things you
David
said
Ross
negative.
averages 4.5
Oh my
yards
God!
per carry.
You better hope that you don't show up to a game that David Ross goes crazy in, because he will give you the football. Like I fully expect you to prepare for that. He sees you, or I'm just go Christian, and he's gonna go right
That
there.
Omaha Wi-Fi is getting you, CJ. You're breaking up a
Oh
little
man.
bit. Kevin O'Hanlon, who I believe is
outside?
affiliated with the CFA, he says a track record of admitting I'm wrong is kind of like saying I'm right almost never. Don't know if that's a good look. Well, see, here in media, mainly with Shady Sports, we try to admit when we're wrong, because, obviously being able to admit you're wrong is as good as
It is.
also parading when you're right, which Krish loves to do. So we feel like he has to balance it out somewhat by admitting when he's wrong.
Hey, have you seen that? You seen that meme where the guy is on the podium and he's like, he's in like 6th place and he's spraying the champagne like he won it all, and it's like all the times he was wrong, and then the one time he's right, he's celebrating. That's Krish.
That's the meme that's going on the shirt with Krish. Now we know.
Oh my gosh, yes, dude, we're gonna make this happen, Krish. We'll give you royalties off this.
It's happening.
Look, I sent CJ my shave my head bets. I put them publicly. Like I put myself out there, right? I put myself at risk. So the reality
All
is,
right, so what we gotta do then is, if you really want people to take that serious,
yeah,
then you gotta show up to a game. So like, all right, I'm just making one up. All right, you say, hey, David Ross won't get over 300 yards rushing this season.
sure.
He gets over 300 yards, you've got to come to the next home game, and he shaves your head, and it's a segment on the Shady Sports Show the next week.
I'm trying to make this
If
happen. I know
you
that would
want
do
people to
numbers.
take it serious,
I'm down with that. I veto that. I second that.
All right. No, this is what I'll do. I'll do this. I'll put this out there. Week 1, I most likely will be there for Playboy Omaha. So if David Ross gets over 45 yards rushing, I will shave my head in Omaha, first game. So
okay.
over 40.
On the
You
field.
messed up
It has
now.
to be on the
You
field.
messed up now,
That's
Chris.
true.
Oh man,
I'm sure the
we
people
could
who
be
clean
up
up the
by
field will
30
be
or down
thrilled.
by
But
30. We're getting that 45.
You
Oh, you're
just
gonna be
said
sick if you
45
bust the
yards,
wrong
bro.
one.
hold on a sec. Hold on. I think that's like 4 different bets just for shaving your head.
Yeah.
Oh, I have
You're
a
gonna
bunch.
Well,
have to
that's
come
all
up with
I have
something
it
else.
all written up.
That's all right. When that first one hits week 1, then he'll have some time to grow it out before he shaves them again. So
Yeah, exactly.
One of these bets at some point, I'm going to send you an extra small Pueblo Punisher shirt you have to wear the rest of the season.
oh my God, he should wear that shirt every time they win a game. He should have to wear it on the show.
Oh,
That
man.
would be a great bet.
We're making that happen. We're making that happen for sure. Shave. See, people are already rooting for it happening. Oh,
Dude,
what
this
is
is gonna
this?
get so much traction. So many people are gonna tune in this episode just to hear that Krish is shaving his head 4 different times.
Agreed. So yeah, Brian, he's very excited about the head shaving. Nick, yes, unfortunately, our other guest, he must not have woken up or something. He's not responding at the moment. So we were really excited to have Cody Hommedahl on. I am positive there's something that came up, or he like I said, he slept in today, something like that. He'll be on in the future. He's been on before. It's nothing new. As far
Dang,
as
Nick,
that goes.
is Coach B and I not good enough guests? Dang. I mean, I thought we
Exactly.
were having a good little show. I guess.
Let's go. Yep.
All right. So speaking of which, Mile High Bandwagon in about an hour. We're going to hit a quick commercial break, and then we'll come back with our final thoughts, and then we'll get out of here for the day.
My
My
top
son
five
says,
for
no, I got to get out of
the
here today, right
NAL.
now.
My
What's
top
that?
5 for the NAL this year is tied at number 1 is Omaha and Colorado. Then you go Salina, Southwest, and Pueblo at 5. That's my top 5 for right now this year.
That's fair. That's fair for sure. All right, we're going to hit a quick commercial. We'll be right back to finish out this episode.
How many times a week?
Like three or four times maybe.
I pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
I'm just being myself, cool as can be. When I'm being myself, you wish you were me. It's so easy. Get out your own way. It's just so easy.
All right. As always, really appreciate anybody who chimes in and supports those sponsors. As you all know, that's how we make this network happen. But on that note, any final thoughts before we get out of here for the day? Let's go to Coach B, let's go to Krish first, and we'll work our way back around.
One thing I forgot to mention is Cedric Wilcott, the defensive lineman, signed with Vegas. I thought that was a huge move. That's a big move. He's a CFL vet, so I'm surprised to see him in Vegas. I'm not surprised, but that D-line is something special. That D-line is going to be better than last year. I've said that before. And And then I see Coach Davis's comment, no one wins paper championships in November, so just keep building. I mean, you would know that, right? In 2022, we all thought you would be so good until we beat you. But, I just think it's like, it's true, man. You can have all these great players. You can have Darius Geis. You can have Robert Kavici. You can have all these great players. And it sometimes doesn't show on the field. So I like when big-time players come in these leagues. It helps with exposure. And so that's why I'm so excited about Paxton Lynch. Like, that made my day. In my opinion, like I said, I think Tony Thompson is one of the top owners in the NAL. Like, he sets the standard. Him and Ricky, right? Like, Ricky's been doing it longer, obviously, but I think Tony's going to continue to push it and do it the right way. And then with projection, man, like, yeah, exactly. Like, you build teams and you try to assess a roster and see. And I might be wrong, right? But my over-under is very fair. Like, go through my over-under, go through each schedule, and you'll probably get the same thing. I did it in a very scientific way. And my model is the best model because I readjusted it. So I'm excited to see my predictions come true, and I won't be shaving my head because all my predictions will come right. So, yeah.
Because it's already shaved. Coach B, what are your final thoughts for the day?
Man, Chris, you make it interesting to follow you up every time. I like what Tony's doing down there too, in Colorado. I think he's gonna be one of the brighter owners of the future going up. Teams like Colorado and Arkansas Diamonds, I think they need to build to their coaching staff, and that's what's gonna get them off the hump over the hump. Having one coach on the staff is kind of hard to do everything, and I think they need to add more to their staff. That's what will help them get over that hump, and I think that will help Colorado edge out Omaha if they did that and bring in the right staff. But Omaha right now is the forefront runner of the NAL to me. What that culture, like you said, the standard there. You know what you're gonna get when you go there. You know what you're gonna receive when you get on the field every week from them. I do want to give praise to two of the new expansion teams coming in the AF1. From what I heard, is Oceanside and Stockton is actually going to be announced now. So Chris, yep, that's what we heard. So we waiting to see the announcement for AF1. I think that's gonna be huge, adding more teams to that market, and see where they go. The AAL is building, and I'm liking that. So that's all I got this week.
Oh, and before we get to CJ, one more thing I want to say. Don't even mention Mass getting high-level players. Like, those are high-level players for everyone else. For us, that's our normal. So, like, those SEC NFL guys, like, that's our normal. So, for you guys, it's, like, high level. Like, remember, Dan Williams was a practice squad player for us. So, I'm so glad to see him blessing Omaha with his presence.
Helps when you got
See,
deep
look,
pockets.
I was gonna leave it all alone. I was gonna leave it all alone, and then you have to. It's like you can't fight the urge to just say something. So here's my little spiel. You're right. Baby Dan was a practice player in Mass, but you know what's different? You know what's different about Omaha and Mass? We have a team in our city right now. All right. So the next thing being, uh, yeah, hey, you guys go and get SEC players and go do all that, and you know, Coach Menas really turned that thing around, and I got a lot of respect for Coach Menas. But when's the last time you guys were competitive in a championship game? Oh, that's right, the one you won post COVID by a last second field goal. Then the next one you went to, you got absolutely smoked. Uh, but yeah, hey, that's fine. Hey, keep on doing you, dog. Uh, the Orlando Pirates will probably do just fine. Anyway, yeah. So just appreciate being on here. I do like what's happening with the other leagues. I think the IFL still being strong and consistent. I think the AF1 the signings have kind of slowed down quite a bit recently. I don't know if that's gearing up for like a big November or if it's like a lot of teams kind of have their skeleton in place and they're waiting for tryouts. But I'd like to see a little bit more. I'd like to see more signings in there. There's been a lot of Oregon lately, and then I think the AAL, hopefully it returns to a high level. I played in the original AAL, and there were some dog teams out there. Uh, I mean, the Richmond Rough Riders, Georgia Doom, Atlanta Havoc, like those teams were littered with guys that were ex NFL, CFL, UFL, or not at the time UFL, ex AAF, all those kind of guys. And heck, most of those guys chose the AAL over the NAL in its infancy stage. I mean, like I said, I've shared a field with Greg Hardy and Robert Meacham. There's not too many guys that can say that. So, but I'd like to see it continue to grow and grow organically. Hopefully, the travel doesn't hurt them too much with having a team in Wheeling, a team in Columbus, a team in Mississippi, and who's the fourth team?
New Jersey.
New Jersey. Like New Jersey and Wheeling make a good like travel partner, and Columbus and Mississippi, but you can't play the same team that many times in a season. So hopefully it doesn't hurt them too much having the 4 teams be spread out. And then TAL, I just haven't kept up with it a ton, but I did see the Memphis news, so that's good. Anytime you add a team, as long as it's done right, you got my support on it. Hopefully there's a little bit more parity in the league this year, and you see some of those teams take a step forward for next year, and I hope that for all the teams that are playing this year, everyone takes a good step forward, and at the end of the day, let the best team win.
Absolutely. Just a reminder, if we hit 20 likes on any platform, we will make shirts with Krish's face on them. So if you want those shirts, make sure you're hitting that like button. Also wanted to shout out one more piece of merchandise I recently got because I was very excited about this. And I personally think you should go check out the NAL shop QR code in the corner there. This thing is freaking sweet. A legit Riddell mini helmet with the NAL logos on them. I am so excited about that. You should definitely go get one. I heard a little complaints about the price of them. $43. Yeah, it's a little bit high, but you know what? You're probably going to pay just as much, if not more, for an NFL helmet. And honestly, I mean, at this point, that's going to support a player that's continuing their, the dream. So in my personal opinion, I'd rather spend the $40 on indoor football merch, but that's just me. So
I need to get some beef gear.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely got to get some beef gear. I'm sure one of our sponsors can help you out there. But with that,
Krish doesn't get me beef gear.
One more thing before we get out of here,
Yeah.
can we each give our winners of this week of free agency? Like, who do you think? What team in each league do you think? I know it's a lot. What team in each league do you think won the league?
That's fair. Yeah, absolutely. We can go there.
I mean, I think, like I said earlier, AF1's tough because really, I've been looking at the transactions. I've only really seen a lot of Oregon. So
Oregon and Albany, that's it. That's all we've seen
yeah,
for real.
so I mean,
Nashville
I'll
every
get
now and then.
for like the last week, it's really been Oregon. So I mean, I guess I give it to Oregon because it's been one player pretty much per day. In the IFL, see
New
the tough thing.
Mexico.
So yeah, New Mexico's the tough thing for me, and I'll be honest. The IFL does a really good job of bringing in like young guys that people don't know a ton about, outside of like people who are watching and evaluating them. So like some of the signings, I'm like, I don't know how they're going to do because they're a rookie or something like that. But just like off of splash factor, I mean, I'd have to go New Mexico. I am a big fan of Jerome Johnson and Maurice Ashley. I do think
Yeah.
those are 2 pretty big signings. But I also will say Green Bay signed a really good offensive lineman from Bay Area, and then a really good
linebacker.
DN from Bay Area. Yeah, linebacker, DN. So they had a pretty good week. But it's hard to go against, signing a former IFL MVP. Doesn't matter what else happened. I mean, that's kind of like the biggest signing because, I mean, he probably had a lot of people calling for him. So for New Mexico to land him, I think that's a big move for them. And then NAL-wise, I mean, everyone's been signing guys. I mean, obviously the headlines are dominated with Paxton Lynch going to Colorado. But I've been kind of impressed with what Dallas has done the last few signings they've made. Like just
That's
certain guys that I'm
yeah.
like they could be a good player. Once again, they've got some younger guys on their roster, so it's just kind of basing it off of when
How
I
they
see
gonna
it, I go look
coach?
up their film. Yeah, so it's just going to come down to how well they're coached on it. I do like the quarterback that Krish referenced. I think he's a good football player, but I think with all of it, you got to build around your players. So I guess NAL by default it goes to Colorado. I mean, it is a great signing to get Paxton Lynch, and I think that is great for the league. But at the end of the day, I'm excited for him to get an opportunity to continue his career. But I'm also excited for our guys to get an opportunity to compete against him. I mean, how many times will you get to? And Salina also had a good week of signings.
Yeah.
But it'll be cool like to see that guy how he operates on the field, and but also from like a selfish standpoint, if you're a DB and you pick off Paxton Lynch, like that's like something you could tell your kids about. I picked off a first round draft pick, or I got a sack on a first round draft pick. Like that's just cool things. Like I talk about how I blocked Greg Hardy in a game, like that was 6-7 years ago. Like,
With the Rough
but
Riders.
yeah, but like it's still something that very few people get to say that they do that aren't playing in the NFL or played in the NFL. So, um, I think it's just really good for the league. Hopefully, it all works out for them from a business standpoint, and they get everything they want from it. Increase ticket sales because I think Colorado is really good for the league. I have a lot of respect for Tony. Got to play against Tony at 24, and I've played against Coach Shaw for 3 years now, and now coaching against him, so I got a lot of respect for him as well.
Absolutely.
TAO, I think it'll be the Arkansas Diamonds. They've been slowly moving and building that thing down there.
Yeah, for me, I'll get mine. So NAL Dallas Bulls, man. I'm telling you, Dante Alves Santos. If I had to pick my rookie of the year, it would be him. I mean, he's a superstar. So excited to see him, man. He's gonna be one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He's a dog, man. For and then they signed Trayvon Samuel. They also signed Joshua Delgado. He's a kicker out of Eastern Illinois. He's from Dunksville, Texas. He averaged 56.8 yards per kickoff return. Per kickoff in college. So he's a dog. And then I would say for my AF1, it's kind of like CJ said, it's kind of hard to do AF1. I don't think highly of Minnesota yet. But I think I can't say an AF1 team, to be honest. Maybe Beaumont adding. I think Beaumont. It would be Beaumont, honestly.
I will say Beaumont did, and I think the tough thing is I don't ever see them on the transactions list right now. I see them posting about them, but I will say going and getting J.D. Griggs and Henry Kellogg as defensive ends, that's two really good signings for them. I mean, as long as they're okay, like financially, I could see Beaumont making a little bit of noise, just based off some of the guys they've signed. I don't think they're going to be. They'll win some games that maybe they shouldn't, but I still
I
think
think
when it
they
comes down to it, it's going to come down to Kentucky, Nashville, and Albany kind of battling.
Yeah.
I think Beaumont is gonna do better than Minnesota will, honestly.
I could see that easily.
I love Speedy, but I don't think Speedy's ready for the AFL game. He's more of an IFL, NAL coach. But I like what they're doing up there with players. I do want to give a shout out to Oregon, though. Coach Jones for obtaining 100% ownership of his team. He's a 100% owner of the team.
What?
So,
That's awesome.
yeah.
And then, also, I didn't know if people, the one of the reasons I am high on Beaumont, as long as they're okay financially, is a lot of people forget that their head coach, was a dog of a player, and he was also on Aaron Garcia's staff with the Vegas Outlaws in the AFL. So, I think he fits that style game pretty well.
Oh yeah,
So
Coach Mayfield was my coach in Vegas when we played out there. He know what he's doing.
Have they signed a quarterback yet?
They signed the quarterback they had last year, Robinson.
They brought back Robinson. Okay, I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I haven't seen that post from them yet, so I was like, I've
I
heard
didn't
that he
think
was coming back, but
I didn't think he should have went to Tulsa. That wasn't a good fit for him. Just because they had Sam there and he got limited playing time, so he really was just a practice body out there.
Yeah, but he was able to develop. I think he being
Earned a paycheck.
Yeah, he got a paycheck.
It's good. I see the comment from my boy Ricky.
I'm surprised that he called, but he didn't try to.
I don't own that NAL MVP prediction. Now my prediction reset because he's not playing. So
it's going to be Paxton Lynch by default because he's riding the Colorado hype train.
No, I need to get back in the lab and I'll make my decision. I'll be making that announcement next week.
Spoiler alert! Next week,
This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about, Krish. So all leading up until last night, it was Andre's going to win the MVP. It's not to the NAL yet. Anything with the NAL hadn't been. I couldn't win the IFL, whatever.
I feel like this is
and now you're saying, I don't. He's like, I don't know. I gotta go back to the lab, but yeah. Oh, damn.
Well, at least I was ahead on it.
Can you hear me now?
Hey, Chris.
Yes.
I predict Javari Flowers to be the MVP. If CJ and them use him like he supposed to, he gonna be the MVP.
Wow.
A receiver never win MVP.
Not leaving until Krish says Kolka for MVP in AF1. All right. Krish, you're gonna need to say that because I got to get going, man. I got other stuff I have to do today.
Nah, it's good, but no, honestly, like I'm gonna pick my new MVP. I mean, hell, maybe Dante Alves Santos might win it, man. I mean, that kid's special. You know, he's Steve Young to me, man. Steve Young.
There is zero bias in that pick. He definitely has no ties to Massachusetts. Oh, damn.
Yeah.
No, I watched the film, man. Seriously. Steve Young.
I'm just kidding. No,
all right, Sam. In the show, because we're going off the rails now. Now we're comparing rookies to Steve Young. We're going off the rails here.
Krish is off the rails the second he hops on. But that's what makes it so fun. So
no, by my free agency winning the IFL San Antonio. Just want to get to that. I don't believe in the New Mexico Power charity team. I believe in San Antonio. So I think
Lord, here we go.
That you give guys opportunities, but they need to be able to.
I do agree with Chris. I don't think New Mexico is gonna make a splash in the IFL this year.
No.
It's year one. I don't expect any team to be a championship contender. Beaumont.
That's crazy how we won a championship in our year one in the IFL, but for other people, it's okay to be average. Like I love that. That's why
you weren't a first year
two. Technically, it was year two, but I guess we're splitting.
Nah, we did year one.
No, you guys were originally going to the IFL in 2020, and then you played in 2021. You had a year and a half to 2 years to learn the rules, to hire people, sign people, do all that stuff. Don't even try that, Krish. You guys won on a last-second field goal, and you had the highest. We're gonna keep Sam on here for another hour. All right, let's move on.
That's the year they had Kaiser as head coach, right?
Yes. No.
And they fired him right after the championship.
No.
That's crazy.
No, he was 22. He was the defensive coordinator in 21. My fault.
Was it pass or was that the?
That's a pass. Yeah. That was
okay.
He's a great leader, man. I'm so proud. I would put that 2021 championship team against any champion.
It was a good team, but it was not a first-year team. It was a third-year.
We would have creamed Vegas this year. We would have creamed them. If we had, honestly, like
I don't know about that one, pal.
What are you dreaming of?
Dear Lord, guys. All right. Here's my obligatory shout out to go get some Shady Sports Network merch. Check out brandingblanks.com, the Shady Sports section. We got plenty of stuff up there, fantasy report shirts, as well as shirts for every one of our different styles. You can get multiple different colors as well. We got stickers available. If you want those, DM me. And QR code in the corner there for anybody who wants to check out the merch. We are going to close this out the only way I know how to, by shouting out the bus stop. That's going to be on in about a half an hour. Tune in right here, 10 a.m. We also have an NEC game I do not have the teams right in front of me, but tune in to the Shady Sports Network live sports channel if you're into college football. There's going to be a couple different games coming on today. And then we got some other stuff coming up in the near future. So stay tuned for all of that. And as always, tune in here every Saturday just so you can hear Krish go on his latest rant and everybody else defend how it's so wrong. So on that note, we'll catch you guys next week.
Yo, what's good? Cedric the bus driver here. I don't know about you guys, but I know what I will be doing every Tuesday, Saturday, and Sunday. And Thursday nights too. I'll be over at Shady Sports Network, so catch up with me. Holla at your boy.